Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Market Open. We are here today. It is Thursday, February 6th, 8:48 a.m. I know I'm a little late today. To be honest, last night in New Jersey, and let me know for anyone else who's in the East Coast, we actually did get a decent amount of snow and kind of like ice rain. And my sister and my mom, they work at a school district, so they had a delayed opening today, so I was helping them with some stuff in the morning. But it was so bad that they ended up doing a delayed opening. Now, they didn't get rid of school for the day, but which I thought they would, because it is pretty bad, dude. It's like icy rain, but it's so annoying. They have a delayed opening, which means they still have to go to work, but they have to go through the weather to get to work, when in reality, I feel like they should have just closed down their schools for today. But nonetheless, kind of a weird morning in New Jersey. I didn't even know last night it was going to be this bad, but there you go. Anyone who's on the East Coast, definitely stay safe, because the roads are icy. They have not been cleaned up yet. And so ice rain is kind of usually a lot worse than snow, at least in this area in New Jersey. It's a little weird here. But nonetheless, good morning to everybody. Thank you for being here. We have a lot to talk about today in the after hours, or in the closing bell on the market close. We're going to have Amazon. So Amazon's going to be very important. That's going to be wrapping up big tech earnings until we get to Nvidia. But for now, we have to do Amazon. We had Google a couple days ago. We had AMD. Those didn't go the best in terms of the stock price reactions, but Amazon's going to be important for today. I actually think Amazon's going to pick up a lot of the slack from Google Cloud and Microsoft Azure. So we'll see what happens there. Number two, we've got Nvidia in the pre-markets that is having some fun. Why is Nvidia having some fun in the pre-markets? Well, SMCI last night said that they are going to be integrating a lot more of their server IT infrastructure to ramp up Blackwell demand, which is kind of signaling to the market that Blackwell does indeed have demand. As you can see right there, Nvidia 126.84. It closed at 125 yesterday, which was really nice to see in the pre-markets. We did touch 127.22. So you're getting Nvidia having an up 2% day. Hopefully that 125 serves as support, and maybe 113.75 on Monday was the bottom, and we are done with this whole DeepSeek nonsense when it comes to Nvidia in terms of erasing hundreds of billions of dollars in market cap. But you got Nvidia right here that is up 1.6%, and that is nice to see. You got Robinhood as well that really looks like it wants 55 today, folks. We found out yesterday that Raymond James initiated coverage on Robinhood, and maybe that's one of the reasons that it had some momentum. Also, Bank of America put out a report that said they like Robinhood and IBKR. They don't like Schwab, and I'll read that report in a bit to kind of get some details on it. But that could have been another reason, combined with Raymond James initiating coverage, for why Robinhood is up 4% yesterday and up about 1% here right now. I do think we're going to cross 55 today. And then you got Grab in the pre-markets that is up 2.85%. It was up 5% at one point. I don't really know if there's a catalyst for Grab, if there's any headline, but this one is getting a little bit of momentum after falling 10.76% yesterday. And then, of course, Palantir holding $100 freaking dollars again, fourth day in a row. If we can close above 100, we will have 4 days of Palantir above $100, which is awesome. I did do some buying already, but it was like 12 a.m. last night. I bought some Tesla. Tesla's, I don't know. Tesla's having a little bit of a rough couple weeks here. I bought 10 shares of Tesla last night, and I think I'll buy another 10 shares today. Let's see how this kind of plays out. But we're in the 370s right here. Do we go to the 350s? Maybe. Do we gap back up into the 400s? Maybe. But there's one reason I bought Tesla last night. There was a single reason, and I'm going to share the single reason in a little bit. But it prompted me as soon as I saw this reason to be like, you know what? I don't care. I'm buying 10 shares. I think I got them at 378 last night at like 12 a.m. Having said that, let's get into it. We got a lot to talk about. We also have a ton of jobs data that we're going to be looking at as well. Matthew, good morning. Phil, good morning. Inbound, good morning. Lenny, I'm beneficial. Matthew, Ken, what's up? What's up? Trial 18, Harsh says, I sold an Nvidia covered call, but now it's 125. What should I do? Should I roll it? Well, okay, first of all, if you sold an Nvidia 123 covered call and now it's 125, yes, you probably have to roll it because 125 is above 123 and it's probably above your break even. Number two, yeah, you would roll it. So you have to add more time to that contract, or you have to, be able to pick a different strike price. And I would probably roll it if I think Nvidia is going higher, which I do think it's going higher. This is the one thing about covered calls and the reason I didn't sell any covered calls on Nvidia. When Nvidia is down 20%, people want to get some income in the meantime by selling covered calls in the midst of it being down. The problem is, if it's down 20% for a stupid reason, it's probably going to rebound, right? And so you want to wait to sell the covered call until you get a little bit of safety. because this range is too easy for Nvidia to break out of. Now, if you picked 140, 150, that's different. But yeah, I would roll it now at this point and try to get a bigger strike price going into the future. Jimbo Slice, good morning. Gene, what's up? Scarlett, Melody, Missy, Walter, Carla, thank you for being here today. Christopher, Auntie, Michael Bean, Dallas, Walt, Julianne, Dougie, Auntie, Andreas, Alex. Good morning, good morning, good morning to everybody. We're almost at Friday, guys. Today's Thursday. Dexter from Singapore. What's up, Dexter? Thank you for being here today. I think this week went by pretty quick, but once we get through Amazon earnings, then we will officially be done for some of the big tech earnings outside of Nvidia. Yeah, Roblox is also down 20%. I saw this in the morning. Is it down more now? It was down 30% when I looked at it. They had a couple misses. Yeah, now it's down 18. You got a little bit of a rebound. I was almost going to buy it when it was down 31%. I was like, okay, this feels kind of stupid. I didn't end up pulling the trigger, but they missed on daily active users. That's why they're down. Daily active users, which is, I don't know. Is that the biggest reason to send a stock down 30%? I don't think so. But nonetheless, it was down, and now it's currently down 18%. William, Rob, Jeremy, Esteban, Alex, good morning, good morning. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. Okay, let's get started. I think we'll get started with earnings, right? I think we should get started with earnings. We had a bunch of earnings this morning. We had a bunch of earnings last night. ARM, Qualcomm, and MicroStrategy were the big ones. For those that don't know, MicroStrategy changed their name to Strategy. So now MicroStrategy is not MicroStrategy, it's Strategy. They're up 0.86%. Their earnings call was interesting yesterday. It wasn't the most exciting, but nonetheless, MicroStrategy right here at 339. So they had a decent earnings. ARM and Qualcomm also decent earnings, not bad. Stocks of those are selling off a bit. Qualcomm down 5%, ARM down 5%. I think they pumped a decent amount going into earnings, and earnings just weren't good enough to live up to the hype. So that's why those guys are down 5%. Ford is down 5%, and then Symbiotic right here is down 14%. Now, we also had earnings today across the market. We had Eli Lilly, which is down 0.38%. And Eli Lilly, I believe, had a miss and a beat. No, they had a double beat. 532 versus 508 on EPS, 13.5 billion versus 13.4 billion on revenue. So Eli Lilly ended up getting a beat. And that's what we got for that one. On top of that, we had a couple other earnings that we'll just run through, and then we'll get into some macro stuff. We had Honeywell, which is an interesting company. I've heard about this company in the past. They're actually splitting up into 3 different names. So I guess that's part of their strategy. They're down right here, 3%. Beat on the top and the bottom, 247 versus 232 on EPS, 10.08 versus 9.83 billion on revenue. Then you had Hershey's, 269 versus 238 on EPS. They are up 6%. Hershey's has been a dog stock since last year. Really got hit with rising cocoa prices. And honestly, West African weather patterns were part of the reason for that. So Hershey's really couldn't do anything about it. But nonetheless, they did take a little bit of a hit. 2.8 billion versus 2.84 billion on the revenue. So that's a beat. And then Under Armour also had earnings, 8 cents versus 4 cents. That's a beat on the EPS. And then 1.4 versus 1.34 billion. That is a beat on the revenues as well. So, I mean, everything that we're seeing is like companies are beating on the top and the bottom line very well. Bristol Myers Squibb, that's another one. 167 versus 147 on the top line. They beat, or on the bottom line, EPS. It's down 4% right here, but 12.34 versus 11.56 billion on top line. That is also a beat. I mean, you've got a lot of double beaters. Now, Peloton missed on EPS by about 5 cents. They beat on revenue. Peloton is up 18%. I guess the miss wasn't as bad, and the revenue beat was way better. And so Peloton right here continuing to do well, up 18%. So, I mean, in general, we had some good earnings data. The earnings data is strong. It continues to show that if there is a slight miss on companies, it's a very small miss. And if there is a beat on companies, it's by up an average of 7%, which is very, very good and not a bad thing at all in the context of maintaining support for these valuations. In terms of jobs data, we've got initial jobless claims coming in at 219,000 versus 213,000, and unit labor costs were 3% versus 3.4%. So jobless claims were up slightly, which is okay because, I mean, it doesn't matter too much. It has to be a sort of dramatic increase for the Fed to be worried about the labor market. But in terms of the labor market, if it's up, it's actually kind of good because that means inflation is not going to be as bad. So S&P 500 not reacting too badly to what we're seeing here in the context of the macro. On top of that, we also got this piece of data that I was going to next. Thank you, Christian, for this comment. Bank of England cut their interest rates to 4.5%. They are also starting quantitative easing in the Bank of England. So you've got more and more central banks that are deciding, hey, we are going to stop with the quantitative tightening And we are going to move on to the money printing again. And that's really good for Bitcoin. That's really good for the broader ecosystem when it comes to opening up liquidity. And eventually when the United States takes that stance as well, which will happen, and we'll talk more about some macro stuff in regards to what Trump wants to see with 10-year treasuries, because we got some analysis on that today. But when that does happen, I know the bears have been calling for a massive crash, but like earning support is good. Inflation's coming down and we turn on the money printer. It's just, I mean, in the next 4 years, I feel like markets have to have a little bit more momentum than what people thought if we start quantitative easing. Now, I don't think we're going to start in the United States this year. I think we probably start in 2026, but I think we do get rate cuts this year, and then that sets us up with a framework to start QE in 2026. Which would be good, because 2026 theoretically could be a bad year, because it's a midterm election year, and midterm election years tend to suck, to be honest. So history is not on our side in terms of 2026 being amazing. But if this is an AI tech revolution that has defied all odds, then hopefully it continues to defy all odds and continue to do better. A lot of you guys are talking about BlackBerry. Look, I know about this name. I mean, I know what the stock is. I don't know much about it. This one's up 1.76%. It was up 10% yesterday. I'm happy for those that are making money in BlackBerry. I don't really know enough about the sector. I've done enough due diligence to get excited about it. I know people say there's a big thesis and you got to look into it. I get it. I don't know. I haven't had the time to look into it, and maybe I will, but by the time I do, who knows if the stock is still at this level. It is up from like $3 last year, now at $5, so doing very well. It is a small cap, $3 billion. I know they do a bunch of different things with auto software, cybersecurity, et cetera. I know they just sold one of the parts of the business yesterday, and that's why the stock's getting some relief as well. I just don't fully understand the company, the management team, anything like that. So probably not one I'm going to dive into. I'll try to do a little bit of research, but for those that are in it, congrats. I mean, you're getting a little bit of a breakout here after like a 3-year base, which is very nice to see on a BlackBerry right now. I know a lot of people think BlackBerry and they think the phone company. It's not a phone company anymore. It's transitioned into something else, but there are some people that definitely feel there's a thesis there. Does that impact the dollar? Yes. So we're going to talk about the dollar in a second in regards to the 10-year, because we got some updates on that, and that will have some implications on the dollar. Arthur, thank you for the $5 super chat. Good morning. Thank you for your dedication to us in streaming. Did you see that Grok is now integrated into AIP? I did see that today. So this morning, Palantir integrated Grok's model into AIP, which continues to go against the sort of LLM thesis and go for the ontology thesis, which is that the LLM doesn't matter. It's just another LLM. Here you go. Palantir integrating Grok into the enterprise. This video on Twitter shows how they're doing it. Elon spending billions to build Grok. Palantir is spending nothing to incorporate Grok into AIP, right? And so at the end of the day, if clients get a valuable insight from Palantir's ontology layered on top of Grok, or Grok layered on top of the ontology, then that's great, but that doesn't mean that the LLM is that important if you could switch this for Gemini or GPT or anything else. By the way, last night I was using GPT for something and GPT was down. Gemini sucks, bro. Like, it actually sucks. I don't know why it sucks, but it sucks. It's so bad. Like, I tried just putting the same prompt I put into GPT into Gemini, and it was just like, I can't answer this. And I was like, why? And they're like, I just won't answer this. And I'm like, what is going like why? And then I went to Grok and Grok did it. So I don't know if Gemini has too many restrictions or filters or something, but it was weird. So yeah, Gemini is not beating ChatGPT anytime soon if they can't answer basic questions, dude. I'm like, what is going on here? Albert, thank you for the gift to 20. Appreciate you. 20 of you guys just got gifted memberships courtesy of Albert. Thank you, brother. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of the show. And thank you for spreading the love with the 20 gifted. Appreciate you. Thank you for being here on the show today. Again, some things around Gemini are good, and I'm not saying I'm bearish Google on it. I'm just saying, dude, it sucked, bro. Like, it sucked last night. And I asked him multiple times. It's like not a controversial. It was a question about politics. I was just like, can you give me some insights on this? And it's like, I'm not allowed. I'm like, what? What are you? You're Google. You index the entire like World Wide Web. Like, how can you not give me any insights about this? It was very weird. It was very weird. But nonetheless, yeah, GPT is still winning when it comes to me using it as my go-to LLM. But the point is, for businesses, it's like you can use any of them. And that's the beauty of what Palantir is doing with their ontology. Okay, let's talk macro, because we have a couple things to talk about when it comes to the macro. So here's the first thing I want to talk about. This is a report from Bloomberg Intelligence in terms of what Trump is trying to do here with the 10-year and what Scott Bessent, his Secretary of Treasury, are doing as well. These guys do not care about the dollar. They care about the 10-year yield. That is the number one thing they care about. They also don't care about the Fed. They care about the 10-year yield. Amit, are you buying more Tesla? Yes, I bought more Tesla last night. And tonight, given how bad it could get, if it does get bad, I'll buy more Tesla today. So here's what Scott Bessent said. The Treasury Secretary says the Trump administration focuses on bringing down the 10-year yield, not the Federal Reserve's benchmark short-term interest rate. They also believe that expanding energy supply will help lower inflation and that reducing the budget deficit will help bring down the 10-year yield. And the administration's goal is to achieve non-inflationary growth, with Bessent supporting making the 2017 Tax Cut and Jobs Act, which was the original DJT tax cut, permanent to continue U.S. economic growth. I think they will get the tax cut because they have the Senate and the House, so they're probably going to get that passed. Along with the executive branch. But then if you're going to have lower taxes, you're going to have increased growth, which means you're going to have more inflation as just a byproduct of economic theory, which means you need to have something that can lower costs across the economic sector, right? Whether that's housing, oil, whatever it may be, to get that 10-year to come down. And they are focused on doing whatever they can to get that 10-year down. Now, you may be asking, okay, oil, we heard, drill, baby, drill. That's one way to get the 10-year down. Independent growth from different areas that could lower prices. So if you just have more eggs, maybe egg prices come down, right? Like, I know we have crazy egg inflation right now, but if you can increase supply, increasing supply as a function of demand would maybe lower prices. But the number one thing for what I think Trump is going to do to try to get the 10-year down, and I think Elon knows this as well, is Doge. If Doge could get government cuts or government costs to come down, Elon has a argument that he believes government costs could come down to the tune of $1 trillion by the end of next year, which would be half of the deficit or half of part of one of their deficits coming down. Then that signals to the bond market, okay, this administration is very serious about getting costs to come down. And even though we do have certain types of inflation that are creating headwinds, if you're spending less money in the government, which could have an impact on growth, but that's a whole nother issue in terms of how to balance, you do have less stimulus. And if you have less stimulus, theoretically, you should have less inflation as well. So there is an argument that the bond market, and you guys might be asking, well, why has the bond market been down so much over the past couple of weeks? One of the reasons is because of Doge. I mean, CPI was good, core PCE was good, but tariffs have been incredibly inflationary. And when Trump announced tariffs, like when he was gung-ho that he was going to do it, there was no move in the 10-year. It was almost like the 10-year was balancing the potential stuff that Doge could do in terms of cutting costs in order to weigh against the tariffs that Trump would implement, which now we know that Trump's not even implementing a lot of those tariffs. And some people might be skeptical about this and saying that the bond market's not paying attention to Doge, but I disagree. I think based on the tweets that Elon's putting out about Doge and how much money they're saving, he's getting a lot of people's attention around the idea that the bond market, or that we are going to take fiscal spending a lot more seriously in terms of reducing it. And as a result, the bond markets are saying, all right, well, if that's the case, let's lock in our yield right now, right? Because we're not going to say that inflation goes higher if Elon's serious about this. And why do I think Elon's serious about this? Well, a new report came out from the Wall Street Journal yesterday, and this is crazy, dude. X reported to the investors in 2024 adjusted earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization of $1.25 billion and annual revenue of $2.7 billion. This is why Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, people that own X debt, formerly known as Twitter, they were able to sell it on 97 cents on the dollar, which is not a bad return if you're selling off your debt. Elon doubled Twitter's EBITDA, and he grew their margins from 13% to 46% since he bought X. Chris, I'm sending you the StreamYard right now. I see you in the chat. I'm going to send you the StreamYard right now, which is insane. It is absolutely insane. So the fact that Elon was able to nearly triple their EBITDA margins and then actually get to EBITDA positive, even if they're not net income positive on like a quote unquote GAAP basis, allowed the bankers to sell off the debt they bought in 2022 that was really referred to as debt that would be down at least 50 cents on the dollar for 97 cents on the dollar. So from that perspective, I think that is why the 10-year is acting the way the 10-year is. Look at the 10-year. It's well under 4.5. It's at 4.43, dude. Like, I mean, we can get this bad boy to 4%. We are going to have fun in the equity markets. But the only way to do that is if the market believes that inflation is not a concern. And the only way for them to believe it's not a concern is either we have a labor market that collapses, aka a recession, which would definitely send the 10-year down, but that's not, the right way to send the 10-year down, or You have Elon come in, and every single day he puts out a tweet to 200 million people saying, yeah, we cut this, we cut this, we cut this. We're buying out these employees are gone. We're getting rid of these federal workers that aren't doing anything. We're shutting down this business. We're shutting down this building that houses people, but the federal workers don't even come in for work. And he compounds all of these losses and essentially turns them into profits for the federal government by not spending them. And then boom, you get the bond market that gets a little bit more exciting. So look, is that going to happen? I don't know. I'm just the messenger here on what I think the bond market is perceiving when it comes to Doge. And if Doge can actually execute, which is yet to be seen, there's a world where Trump could get away with a lot of his pro-growth policies that could be inflationary because the government's just not spending as much, which would be kind of a Goldilocks zone for Trump. Chris, good morning. How are you?
Good, man. I am so glad you brought up the topic because I think that's probably one of the smartest moves ever, dude. So, and let me just show all the viewers exactly why. The reason why the 10-year is important is because if you look at the 30-year mortgage, which is what most people tend to get for their homes, look at the correlation here to 10-year treasury, right? If you look at the 10-year treasury, as the yields go down, so do the mortgage rates. And as yields go up, so do the mortgage rates. They're almost constant, that there's a spread between there. Usually it's about 1.5 to 2%. So if you get 10-year treasury to be like 3%, right? That means that now you can issue mortgages at 5%. So that's huge for people looking to buy homes, right? The reason why that's important is because right now there's a huge lock-in of people that want to buy a new home, move, whatever, but they're not putting homes on the market because they're locked into a 3% mortgage. But as you get interest rates lower, the amount of inventory is going to actually go up. So if you look at this right here, let me stop sharing this and just share the other screen. Shelter inflation has been one of the leaders when it comes to inflation reduction. So look at this. Inflation is coming down significantly, but it's sticky, right? It's not moving down fast enough. So right now, shelter inflation is about 4.62%. If this does not move at a rapid pace down, what ends up happening is businesses, consumers, everyone starts to kind of expect inflation to remain higher for longer, which almost keeps things higher for longer. So let's say right now you're doing a labor negotiation, right? With a union, the union says, hey, listen, my members, they need a 4% rise because that's what the current inflation is. And, a lot of employers are going to have to relent. Right. But that's what happens. The expectations are what lead it. So right now, if the Scott Bessent can get this to be controlled, the 10-year to go down, it's going to do a few things. Number one, the 30-year treasury will come. The 30-year mortgage will come down, which means a lot of people that are in 3, 4, and even 4.5, maybe even 5% mortgages, they're more likely to put their homes on the market because they need to move. Yeah. Right. Yep. Think about all the people that bought homes during COVID thinking they're going to work from home forever. And now they're being asked to come back to the office. What do you do with that existing property? So the inventory is starting to creep up in certain parts of the country. And I think that's going to end up playing into the shelter part of it. And so I think right now they're making the right move. With one side, they're trying to reduce cost. They're literally using Milton Friedman's playbook of cutting expenses to get inflation down. The federal government, as they start cutting interest rates, inflation should come down. The 10-year treasury, because you're so proactive with reducing down expenditures, that the bond market is responding by lowering that 10-year treasury. And that downward movement in 10-year treasury will then boost up the demand for mortgages and stuff. So basically it's kind of this Goldilocks scenario that these guys are trying to engineer, but I think it could be done. I'm actually very optimistic about it.
Well, do you think that the 10-year genuinely believes that Doge can cut expenses? And that's why
I think it's a combination of two things. Number one, it's the expense cuts from Doge, but at the same time, it's that jawboning from Scott Bessent saying that no, the 10-year is going to be a focus. Our focus is going to be a cost cutting, right, across the board. I think that will lead people to say, you know what, maybe I need to buy more treasuries. You know, because right now, I mean, technically speaking, that is not a bad way to hedge right now against an overvalued market. Right now, if you look at the stock market, valuations are high. So a lot of people, they're ignoring bonds. But dude, there's actually value in being in bonds as it goes down and down, you know?
And I also think Elon's like really pounding the table on some of the stuff that they're cutting. If he continues to really cut aggressively, and they've already done like almost $30 billion of cuts, I think the bond market might take him a lot more seriously. We saw Brad Gerstner basically echo the statements of Elon around how we need to cut our deficit. And he's an investor, right? So he's looking at the bond market, the stock market. So I do think the market's taking notice of his tweets every day to 200 million people around Doge.
Well, there's another huge benefit too, because if you are able to get the 10-year to come down and there's actually demand on the 10-year side, you can reduce down the deficit. Right? Because now the new bonds that you're issuing, you're not issuing them at higher interest rates. You're issuing them at lower interest rates. So if you're doing that, you're basically reducing down the deficit at the same time. Imagine right now we can go back to the bond market, you know, issuing debt at like 2-3% again. That would help tremendously for the federal government to get its deficits in check.
Yeah. Chris, while I have you here, I know a lot of people have been wondering your opinion on the Googs down about 7% from earnings. Was this justified or not?
I think a lot of people got freaked out by that $75 billion capex. I did not expect them to go that hard, but it also leads me to believe that there's probably a crap ton of demand, you know? So, I mean, no one's like, Google is not the type of company that's going to say, yeah, let's just invest for no reason. No, they see the demand and they brought that up. One of the reasons why their cloud growth numbers didn't expand out as much as like they were, you know, a lot of the estimates were saying is primarily because they were capacity constrained. So they're correcting that by adding a ton more GPUs and data centers, and that costs money, you know? So the challenge though, and this is one thing that's probably going to come up in the first quarter, where the first and second quarter might end up being a little bit weak because of two things that they described. One was currency headwinds from a strong dollar, because remember, they're generating money outside the United States also. Right. And so if you translate it to the dollar compared to last year where the dollar wasn't as strong, you have to adjust for that. So FX, there's some headwinds there. And then there's also 1 day less in the compared to last year. 2023, we had a leap year, so we had an additional day. But one thing is, look at this. Everyone is raising their price targets. So for me, I think this is a great opportunity. I'm going to be adding to my position. Google's a great company. Businesses are phenomenal, you know. So, yep.
Yeah, almost all of these guys raised their, I mean, no one came, it's not like AMD where the reaction was, all right, we're going to lower the price target. We're getting a little iffy. This was like, they're spending more on CapEx. It is what it is, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is really bullish for Nvidia, Broadcom, even the other ones like SMCI, because the thing is, a lot of people thought after DeepSeek, a lot of these companies would start cutting back on CapEx. But from what we're seeing right now, Meta and Google have already said, we're expanding our CapEx. Now, Amazon's going to come out next. If they say we're going to expand our CapEx too, then you got yourself a trifecta, man, you know?
All right. So last question for you, preview on Amazon. Do you think they have the same fate as Google, or you think they pick up the cloud slack in AWS?
I don't know. This market's just weird, dude. I have no idea. You know, Meta did a really good job of saying that they were going to spend a lot of money beforehand. Google was a little bit like out of left field. So that's why maybe the market reacted in a not so positive way. Also, the growth estimates on their cloud might have been a little bit too much. I mean, I personally was also very bullish on cloud growth on Google. I had no idea that they were capacity constrained, you know, but that's what happens sometimes. So, yeah.
Are you, shout out to Farzad in the chat. I'm going to ask this question to you just because Farzad's here. Are you buying this Tesla dip?
No, bro, I'm good. Y'all can buy as much Tesla as you want. I'm not in Tesla. I'm not in Palantir.
If Palantir goes below 100, you have to buy the dip, Chris. You have to.
No, thank you. I'm all right. I'm all right, guys. Y'all can have all the Palantir that I miss out on. You know, I'll stick to what I know.
All right, Chris. We appreciate you, brother. Thank you for being on. Talk to you next time.
Later. Take care.
Shout out to Farzad, bro. Shout out to Farzad. Look, I think Chris made a lot of sense right there. If Basent can get this damn 10-year lower, and again, you don't have to believe in what Elon's saying, but the 10-year and the bond market is absolutely not taking it for granted that Elon is pretty headstrong or headfast on getting cuts to come in terms of overall government spending. And they've shown a bunch of stuff on their Twitter account of different things they're doing that are verified to be true in terms of different cuts. I mean, I heard a report yesterday. Let me see if I can get the exact report that 50,000 people are taking Trump's offer for the buyout. That was basically Elon's idea of like, let's just buy them out and move on from them. So I'll get the exact number here, but I believe 50,000 federal workers are taking up that buyout offer. If that's the case, the bond market's like, okay, wait a second. So 50,000 people that were theoretically being unproductive, and we can trust that they were being unproductive because Elon is one of the smartest entrepreneurs in the world who probably knows a little bit about what it means to be productive. If he's giving them a buyout offer and these guys are leaving and he's going to replace them with maybe 10,000 people out of the 50,000 that are voluntarily deciding to leave, there is an argument here that Elon's going to give more productivity to the government, and that productivity is going to come with decreased costs. And if that happens, you're going to have a little bit of room in the deficit that gets to be positive. And look, this was never going to be easy. No one ever thought it was going to be easy. And quite frankly, I was skeptical that Trump or Harris would actually take any realistic steps to reduce the deficit. But if Trump's letting Elon do what he wants to do, and Elon has a shot to actually decrease certain parts of the deficit, you're just going to get a lot more people that are excited about the Feds not spending as much money. And as a result, that's going to bring that 10-year down. Yeah, this was the Washington Post report yesterday. 40,000 federal employees have now accepted President Trump's buyout resignation offer. I don't know what was the condition to not accept the buyout. I think the headline was you have to show up in person to work, or I don't think they're like offering less pay or something. It was just like certain things that you have to do. And I guess 40,000 federal employees are deciding they'd rather take the buyout. I mean, look, dude, Elon cut 80% of Twitter in 2022 or 2018. I think he sent that email to Tesla employees that this is a fork in the road, and you either got to be good or you got to be either great or you got to get the hell out of here, right? And if he's saying the same thing for the government, that is a totally different paradigmatic shift that we haven't experienced in the United States government in a long time. And whether you like it or not, that could help be one of the reasons for why inflation comes down and we get to keep up growth. So it's going to be important. It's going to be very, very important. 40,000 out of how many? I don't know. I would imagine there's millions though. So it's a small amount in terms of the overall employees that were offered the buyout. I got to do some more research on it today. I haven't looked into like what exactly Elon offered. Like I actually want to read the email, the buyout offer. I want to see if I can get through that stuff today. But if it's helping us decrease inflation, then I think that is a good thing at the end of the day. So he can push his robots. I don't know if robots are going to be doing some of these federal employee jobs, maybe, but you never know. Farzad said 2 million federal employees. Could you imagine if robots are walking around the IRS and doing stuff? Okay, speaking of robots, here's why I bought 10 shares of Tesla last night at 12 a.m. Here's why I bought it. I bought it off one tweet. And this one tweet that I saw reminded me why I wanted to start buying Tesla this year in the first place. Sometimes you need a little bit of a reminder, and this was my reminder. Tesla is now officially hiring engineers to prepare for mass production for Optimus in their Fremont factory in California. Here's what one of the Tesla LinkedIn employees said. My team is turning Tesla Bot into a reality. We're building Tesla Bot in our Fremont factory in California, and we're looking for engineers up for the challenge of getting this product ramped for high volume production. That was all I needed, bro. Because Tesla come lower short. Could Tesla go back to 300? I don't know. Maybe it could. But this was the reason that I got excited about Tesla like late last year. And I mean, like if they are officially getting ready to start scaling production for the bot, I am pretty convinced that the unit economics on the bot are something that we have never seen as a humanity. And I think it can be well into the trillions. And if that's the case, then I think there's simply going to be a ton of momentum in this ecosystem. And as a result, Tesla's getting ready to ramp up for that. So, I mean, that's my thing. That's my constant DCA into Tesla. It's going to be based on this thesis that the bots are coming, and FSD is kind of a cherry on top. The automotive business hopefully does well this year, but it's the bots. It is the bot. I don't think we can put a price on what those look like. Now, is Elon's timeline aggressive? 2026 shipping out, or I think 2027 shipping out 500,000. Yeah. But if they're getting ready to hire to start high volume production, maybe they're going to live up to at least somewhat of those expectations, even if it's not 500,000. And I don't think the street has factored that in yet. And I think a lot of us are going to be, when this thing is $600-700 and the bot thesis is so obvious, and it just like Palantir right now that it's 100, the street's upgrading it to 110, 115. It's like, it becomes so obvious after the fact, but it's hard to buy it in the short term when it's not obvious, but that's the best time to buy, right? So that's kind of my thoughts on Tesla. Tesla's been having a kind of crappy week. I don't know really why Tesla's been down. I mean, maybe it's just the earnings lag that's catching up to it, because the earnings did suck and Tesla probably deserves to get hit a little bit from those earnings. But the fact that it's even holding the 350s, I think, is impressive. And so I guess throughout the rest of the month, we're going to see where Tesla goes, especially after Amazon. Farzad, oh yeah, I remember Farzad. This was your first call option, right? Farzad bought a 710 strike. I think this was what, like 5 months ago, Farzad? You bought like a 2-year 710 strike, and this was your first call option ever. So Farzad's a little a little bullish on where Tesla's going in 2 years. In a long time, yeah. What's June 2026? Okay, so look, I don't know if Tesla gets to 710 by June 2026, but if it gets there, would any of us be surprised in that's what, basically 2 years, 2.5 years? No, 1.5 years. So 18 months. In 18 months, if we are, and we don't have to be in 710 for Farzad to make money on that. I mean, if it gets even 500, he'd be up on that call, or 600. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, bro. Especially if the street starts pricing in robots before robots happen, right? So the perception of robots would be what the street prices in. We do have Trump speaking right now. Let's go over to this and hear a little bit of what he's saying, and then we'll get into the market open in just 6 minutes.
Liquid gold coming out of the ground than anybody's ever seen before. We're going to drive the price down, and everything else is going to follow. So he's one of the really important people. He's a very, very, very great gentleman, was a fantastic governor, by the way, and really did do, and for sort of learned the oil business as a governor, because he made his money, made a lot of money, which I like. I like people that make money, because that means they can help us. And they always like me to put in really people that have failed. They want.
Okay, so it's not like any like specific press conference or policy meeting or anything. He's speaking at the National Prayer Breakfast. So probably we'll talk about some political stuff, but it's not like a news conference or anything like that. Trump did sign a bunch of executive orders yesterday. So we had some of that news. We also had some of that crypto executive stuff that happened a couple days ago. But overall, no major policy updates yet from the administration outside of the ones that we saw on Monday and Tuesday around the executive orders for sovereign wealth funds. Now, we do have some updates in terms of the Panama Canal, and that came out a couple days ago as well, that they're now allowing U.S. Navy ships to pass free of charge. So that's one thing that is good. No changes in terms of the China tariffs. Those negotiations are still going back and forth. Xi Jinping and Trump, I believe, did talk a couple days ago. And we got to see what the update is from that. But or they're getting ready to talk today, if I'm not wrong. But they haven't come to a Trudeau or Mexico type of deal where they delay the tariffs for some type of concession. Robinhood right here in the pre-market is 55. There you go, 55. It's great to see. It's great, dude. I think Hood's going higher this year. I think it really is crazy, bro. Robinhood's not Palantir, but it is having a bit of a Palantir moment in terms of, I don't know if it's going to go crazy stock price type of Palantir action back up to 100. But the street is realizing that you bet on the winners, you bet on the founders, you bet on the ones that are growing, you bet on the ones that are executing. And in the fintech space, it's Hood. Like there's just no one else that's doing it like Hood. And in the software space, there's no one else that's doing it like Palantir. And as a result, you're getting there. I know Robinhood is still market contingent, so I don't want to get super euphoric. Obviously, if we have a couple bear months, that could really hurt Hood. Bad months for crypto, that could hurt Hood. But I believe in their innovation and their product suite to be able to outweigh that, overcome that. And I think the street does as well. And that's why we're seeing some momentum here on Hood. Q4 earnings next week, Tuesday. It'll be fun. Q4 on Tuesday. That will be fun. Oh, yeah. What did Bank of America say? So let me pull this up right here. Bank of America, by the way, this is the Goldman inflation tracker. They're saying inflation's coming in pretty much at 2%. So if you look at, they put this out this morning, their core inflation tracker says that we believe inflation is coming down very nicely. And it's getting very close to being almost exactly at 2%. Dude, if that's the case, it's just hard to be bearish equities. It's hard to be bearish equities when inflation is coming down and the Fed is inevitably going to cut rates, because you can't have the federal funds rate more than double the current interest rates. Here's what Bank of America said. They remain positive on Hood and IBKR while maintaining a cautious stance on Schwab. The firm expects solid U.S. GDP growth for 2 to 2.5% in 2025 and 2026, with inflation above 2.5%, creating a favorable environment for brokers with high interest rates, slowing cash sorting, and accelerating retail engagement. And they recommend Hood and IBKR while they keep an underperform rating on Schwab because there's unattractive cash sweep rate and a weak organic growth. So Schwab, much bigger than Robinhood in terms of client assets, 10 trillion versus Hood's barely 200 billion. But Hood is growing, IBKR is growing. And in the markets, you really need to prove growth to be able to get a multiple. And that's why Bank of America is bullish on them. So I think that also probably helped Hood get some love yesterday. Nvidia, we are at 127.4. My goodness, if Nvidia gaps up to 130, that would be fun to see. It is really interesting to just see market psychology again. Last Monday, DeepSeek was the biggest, scariest thing in the world when it came to Nvidia. And sometimes it just takes news to digest. And the market is made of people. People at the end of the day need some time. They're emotional. And now we're seeing a little bit of recovery right here. And if we gap all the way back up to 140, which I think is possible, I would hedge my bets more around getting to 130 and staying there until earnings. And then after earnings, maybe we gap up to 145, 150. If the earnings are phenomenal, they've got to be phenomenal. And we have some Nvidia updates we'll read from the sell side today that we'll talk about on what analysts are projecting when it comes to Nvidia. But if that happens, you know, you get 450 of EPS in 2025. You put a 40 PE, which is very reasonable. You have a $180 stock. And that's my math on Nvidia this year. And if that could happen, then hopefully we're going to have much more momentum on this name. All right, here we go, folks. 9:30 a.m. Thursday, February 6th. Thank you all for being here. Once again, the stock market is now open. Wake your ass up. Here we go. Nvidia opens up 2.03% on the day. 127. Let's see if we can hold that 127 range or at least even 126.50. We were at 127.50 in the pre-markets. 126.89 right here on Nvidia. Tesla down 1%, 374. Robinhood 54.60, down about 0.5%, but it's up 0.5% on the day, down 0.5% from the pre-markets. BlackBerry just went red, basically flat on the day at 508. Rocket Lab is down about 1%. Google 190, that's down another 1.2%. It was down 6.94% yesterday. Eli Lilly is down 0.5%. They beat on the top and the bottom line when it came to earnings. Roblox down 17% because they missed on their daily active users and a little bit on their bookings. I don't know if that's enough of a reason to take it down 20%. It wasn't even that bad of a miss. It was like 3 million users. But nonetheless, I guess the street on a business that's not profitable and is so contingent on their users producing revenue, they can't miss on that metric. So that one right here is down 17%. Honeywell is down 3.84%. MicroStrategy is down 1%. Eli Lilly now just went green. Grab's up 3%. I have no idea why. I didn't see any headlines. The dollar's up today, so that's not like a tailwind for Grab. I don't know why Grab's up. I'm going to try to get some details on it in a bit, but Grab right here is up 3%. Palantir 100.89. Palantir holding 100. Robinhood is still green. Google 190. Tesla 373. Nvidia 126.5. You got Path. That's down 0.5%. Reddit's down 1/3%. Salesforce is down 4%. Why is Salesforce down 4%? That is a bit confusing. I will try to get an update on that, but Salesforce is down 4%. Boeing's up 1.4%. China's up. Chipotle's up. Tempest. Dude, freaking Tempest. Kathy's been loading this, but Nancy disclosed that she bought this when it was $35. This thing is $70. I mean, I didn't want to chase it when it was at 45. I was like, no, I can't chase it now from 30 to 45. It's at 70. So, I mean, shout out to Nancy. She got this one again. Amazon 238. That's up 1.2%. Nubank's up a little bit. JP Morgan's up a little bit. Ulta Beauty's up a little bit. Where is SoFi? SoFi is down. I don't know why SoFi is down, but SoFi, of course, is down. 1544 currently right now. Neil says Grab is up because I just bought 50,000 shares. The fun thing about Grab is people are like, oh, Amit, people see your tweets. That's why Grab is moving. I'm like, dude, Grab has 4 billion shares outstanding. My tweets got a couple million views, but that's not going to move 4 billion shares outstanding. But here's the other thing. Someone, said, well, why are you so excited about Grab? If they have 4 billion shares outstanding, the stock is not going to move. And one thing I've learned about the markets is that does not matter. When you are in the stock market and you are a decent company, the liquidity of the stock market is unbelievably deep. I mean, it doesn't matter if you have 4 billion shares outstanding. Grab was up 12% on Monday with 4 billion shares outstanding. Like 4 billion shares didn't stop it from going up 12%. Why? Because there was a big rumor that Grab was going to acquire their biggest customer. People know about this company. You've got really big hedge funds that are in this stock, and they get excited about those moves, and they will buy in droves if they are excited about a catalyst. So it really doesn't matter about the share count outstanding. Is it going to move as easily as like a SoundHound that has like 100 million shares outstanding? No. But if it's a good quality company over time, if you believe the thesis plays out, the shares outstanding is not going to stop the liquidity from finding this stock. And that's what we're seeing currently right now. PayPal 79.50, S&P 500 605, Walmart at 102, Next Decade 871, Meta is at 707. Meta doing a great job holding above that $700 range, which is incredible for Zucks. Googs, are we still down on Googs? We are still down on Googs at 191. Robinhood's at 54.75. I think we hit 55 today. We did hit it in the pre-markets, but we got to hit it in the actual trading session. I will check resistance on 55. But I think we get there. BlackBerry's up almost 1%, which is not bad. And then Rocket Lab just went green. Rocket Lab just went green. Okay, 55 resistance on Hood is 44,000 shares. 44,000 shares, not too crazy. 44,000 shares, not too crazy if it can get there. Roblox still down 17%. Under Armour is down after a good earnings, and Tesla still struggles, 372. Right here on the day. Are we still holding 100 on Palantir? Nvidia, by the way, 126.85. Looks like it wants to get back to 127. We are 102. We are green on Palantir. We are freaking green on Palantir. Oklo is also flying. Oklo, again, the energy play. Wow. Dude, this thing is up more than 100% this year. I mean, it's just incredible. Just incredible. 100 on Oklo. Congrats to those in Oklo. Congrats. I mean, no earnings, but the sentiment and the narrative is definitely giving it some love. Where's Big Bear AI? Down up another 7%. Gamma squeeze continues on this one. I think it's a squeeze. I think the gamma squeeze continues on this one. And then SoundHound right here is also up 3%. So a lot of these spec names actually continuing to get some love. D-Wave, the quantum name. Shout out to D-Wave. This one's up. Okay, this is a different comeback. I clicked Dave. I was like, is D-Wave at $112? That's quite the move. Quantum D-Wave is up 3%. IONQ's up 3%. Rigetti's up 3%. And QUBT's up 3%. So you got all the quantums moving as well. S&P 500 at 605 here right now. Where is HIMS? HIMS is 42.73. That's up 1.24%. TSM is at 211. That's up. All the semis, I think, are moving on Nvidia as they should. Yeah, pretty much all of them except ASML and Qualcomm, which had a earnings that wasn't the best. ARM also getting slacked on earnings. That's down 8%. But look at SMCI. That's up 3%. AMD is basically flat. And then NVIDIA, 125, not at 127, but still green on the day. On the day. TSM as well, doing great. And Dell right here at 105 is doing good as well. Amid is the 10% short rule, 201 in play for Grab today. Yeah, that's probably in play, and that could be a reason why Grab is getting some love right here, given it was down 10% yesterday. But I think there might be other reasons people are buying this today. I'll try to find some updates, but I haven't seen anything this morning. It also could just mean people are buying the dip, as they didn't buy the dip yesterday, and they're choosing to buy now if they think enough pain has happened, down about 10.2%. Palantir 102.6, baby. Palantir is not slowing down. I think the fact that we've held 100 for the past 3 days or 4 days is just unbelievable, dude. I mean, it's just incredible. Absolutely incredible. We have not, we went below 100 for literally seconds. 99.75 was the dip. The street, like, you talk about a stock getting re-rated. From 20 to 40, it was re-rated. From 40 to 80, it was re-rated. We had NASDAQ and S&P inclusion. Now from 80 to 100, it gets re-rated. And what do I mean by re-rated? I mean, like, usually when a stock gets re-rated, it's not visiting the lows that it was at the day before it got re-rated, or like the moment before it got re-rated. Could it get back to 80, 85? Of course, right? That could happen. But when you get re-rated, it's like, oh, the street just believes that, like, no, this is the story. Oh, never mind. Palantir also got re-rated again back in March when it went from 16 to 24. So it went from 16 to 24, then 20 to 40, then 40 to 80, now 80 to 100, basically 5 times in the past 365 days. The company has re-rated and not revisited the lows of the previous rating after it had a, I guess you could call it, vibe shift in terms of how people think of the stock. And it looks like that's happening again right here to 100. Tesla, is Tesla below 370? Tesla, wow, below 370, huh? Below 370 on Tessie. Below 370 on Tesla. We already looked at the labor data. Labor data is unemployment or jobless claims came in lower or a little bit higher than expected, 219 versus 213. So kind of a nothing burger when it came to jobless claims. And that was the only labor data we had today, if I'm not wrong. Tomorrow, I think we get non-farm payrolls. Yeah. But outside of that, it was just the initial jobless claims today. Palantir 102.9, Google 191, SoundHound 1590, HIMS 4270. Tesla really getting hit 369 right here. Does anyone have a theory why Tesla's going down? Is it just earnings lag? Were the earnings bad and now it's catching up to it? Because I don't know. I don't really have a understand. I mean, was it the German auto registrations that's taking Tesla down? Like, what's actually getting Tesla hit right here? ASTS is pumping 7.5%. So they got upgraded by a firm today that initiated coverage. They're up 5% right here. And that's why ASTS is getting some love. But yeah, those are green right now. Reddit's down. Reddit probably makes sense that it's down. It hit all-time highs yesterday. Reddit right here, 215. That's down 2.5%. Palantir, maybe trying to get to 104. Maybe trying to get to 104. Maybe people think Elon is not spending enough time on Tesla. Maybe, but he's not been spending enough time on Tesla for like 5 years now, right? So I don't know. I don't think it's anything political, dude. If it was anything political, Tesla would have never even gotten to this point. I think there's another reason that's out there for why people are selling that off right here. But 368 down 2.5% on Tesla. Yes, Roblox is down. They missed on their DAUs. That's why they are getting hit. Jason said if it loses 375, it's going down. Well, so far it is down below 375. Oklo right here still getting a little bit of momentum as well. No, now it's down. Now it's down. Dude, Oklo, a lot of these stocks, if they take a breather, I don't think anyone can complain. I mean, it's they've had massive runs, and so I think that's reasonable. Tesla lost a lawsuit. Is it a lawsuit? Really? They lost a lawsuit today? Tesla lawsuit? I guess that could be a reason if that's the case. How bad is the lawsuit though? Right? Like, how bad does it have to be for it to take it down this much? We'll try to get an update on that in a bit. Palantir 103.17, Nvidia 125, Robinhood right here 54.26 here right now. Nvidia is trying to hold on to that 125 range. SoFi just getting demolished every day. I mean, it's not really getting demolished. It's just like staying flat. Then it's going up 1%. Then it's going down 1%. Therefore, it's, I guess, consolidating is a better word than demolished, but it is definitely finding its rhythm in the $15 range. Peloton right here is up 22%. You know, I remember seeing Peloton at $2, $3 last year, and I always thought there was something towards it, but I never bought it because it's freaking Peloton. My main thesis was Apple should buy them out for $1 billion. I feel like it would be an easy acquisition for Apple, but I never bought it. David Einhorn, I believe, bought this one, and that helped it pump. And then, earnings today were not horrible. This one's up 22% right here. They also got rid of the CEO a year and a half ago, or the founder, and they replaced him with someone else. So yeah, Peloton, 21%. I mean, decent earnings will get some liquidity into this one. Marcus said I dumped SoFi on Monday. I feel like selling covered calls on it that are aggressive are not the worst idea right now. Just because it's pretty stagnant. Again, we do have to remind ourselves it went up from 6 to 15 in the past 6 months. So we have to constantly remember that. But yeah, right now I do think people are a little upset at the guidance when it came to earnings. Meta right here, 707. Next decade's down a little bit on the day. Walmart, 102. S&P 605. Palantir still holding on to 103.4. Let me check resistance at 104 on Palantir and see where that is. Beneficial said, I think I'm going to sell some aggressives on SoFi, to be honest, as well. Yeah. I mean, I think people are just wondering what's the catalyst for the breakout, right? And if there's no catalyst, then you might not be too scared to sell aggressive covered calls on it. 104 is 47,000 shares, which is not a lot of shares for Palantir. So it could happen. It could happen again if it gets there. Average dip buyer says no catalyst. Yes. I mean, I don't really see the catalyst on SoFi right now. I see the growth prospects going into the rest of the year, but like in terms of short-term catalyst, unless they announce a massive deal with the tech platform or with the loan platform, that's, I think, the issue that we're seeing right now. But again, like if it's not really a super, super big tech company, they don't need a catalyst. Like tech companies always need catalysts. Palantir needs a catalyst. Tesla needs a catalyst. Robinhood needs a catalyst. Nvidia needs a catalyst. If SoFi is not necessarily a tech company, if they have some tech incorporated into their bank, then they don't need a catalyst. But that just means the stock's not going to move crazy on narratives either, which is okay. It just is what it is. But it's not like it's necessarily a bad thing. Netflix right here at 1,007. Google at 189. Google still continues to get hit, and Amazon is going the opposite. So the fact that Amazon's going green and Google's going red means the street's getting more bullish on Amazon versus Google, which is fair. I think AWS is going to be good. I think operating margins are going to be good. I think operating margins in international are also going to be good. That was at $1 billion last quarter compared to 200 million in 2023. So it was a 500% beat year over year in terms of expectations. So I do think that Amazon's going to have a great quarter. I am a little worried that it's at all-time highs, and Bezos was selling a lot of it at 200. Now it's at 237. You never know. Maybe it takes a little bit of a breather like Google after earnings. But if they crush on cloud and income margins, then I think Amazon has a good quarter. Should Netflix do a split? Yes, Netflix should do a split. I think it would be conducive to get more people, at least into the options market on Netflix, if they do a split. Tesla 367. Wow. Last time we saw this was on earnings for like a second. It hit this level and then it bounced all the way back up to 415. But we are red. We are red on Tessie. Palantir 104. Did we get back there? Wow, dude. This is crazy. This is incredible. This is incredible. I don't think this is retail, dude. I really don't. I think some of it's retail, but I think there's just bigger people that are putting their money into this company. Like some of it's definitely retail, but I just think some whales are stepping in, bro. Like $100. The thing is, someone shared this tweet yesterday that was really funny. They were talking with their coworker about Palantir, and their coworker's like, "Oh yeah, that stock you always talk about. Like, I think I'm gonna buy some shares. It's only $100. It's cheap." And it's so funny because that person watches my channel and they obviously understand the valuation's at $230 freaking billion. And like, it's not cheap, but average people who are like kind of interested in the markets, right? They see $100 stock. It's not crazy. It's not like $1,000 like Netflix. So it like to just like when you look at it on face value, it's like, all right, it's $100. I'll buy 10 shares, right? I'll buy $1,000 of it. When in reality, if you've been in the community, you're buying a $230 billion company. But it's funny because that person's probably going to do better than the people who hold out and don't buy it at 100 in the next 5 years. Like that's how crazy this is. That's how crazy this is. This is why stock splits do matter. Exactly. If Netflix was $100 a share, that same coworker would be buying Netflix right now. So this is why stock splits do matter. Amid, how many Tesla shares do you own? I own not 300. I own 30. Technically 31, but 30. My average is 397. So I'm ready to DCA that heavy in 2025. That is the goal. Just a question of trying to find the right timing on really getting it lower. I did buy 10 shares last night as well. Amit, can you please confirm that you're going to make Sachin a regular on the show? I would love for Sachin to be a regular on the show. The problem is he's in Malaysia and he has a family and he's like busy in life. He also had some personal issues last year, which is why he wasn't able to show up on Palantir Weekly. So hopefully we get him like once every couple months. But yeah, it's hard for him to like tune in every single day and be in the show. But he was awesome yesterday. You guys loved him. He was awesome. Gave us a lot of good insight on Grab, SoFi, AMD, and Palantir. He is getting ready to get the hell out of AMD. He just did not like that earnings or the guidance for AI revenues. I think, again, my thesis is simple. I think buy the winner, Nvidia, and hopefully Nvidia continues to prove they're the winner, but hopefully it's just that easy to make the decision between the two, and earnings kind of proves that as well. Let's see, what else do we have? We still have Palantir above 104, Tesla 368, AMD 110, Oklo 4870. That's down 4%. Reddit's down 4%. Grab, I still don't know why this thing is up, dude. I'm trying to find a headline. I don't see it. I don't think there's any real reason why it's up, unless the rumor news started again, but I don't know. I do think people are using it as an opportunity because they were mad that it ran up to 515 so quickly. So you do have some people who wanted it are now using this to buy the dip. Google 190, Nike 74, Elf at 88.49, and SMCI right here is up 3.9%. So the SMCI move was the most impressive move yesterday because it looks like the street really looked at the undervalued semis and gave them some love, and SMCI was one of them. Uber, wow, what a nice rebound on Uber. Uber was down 5% yesterday. Now Uber's at 4%, up 4%. Dude, Uber trades at 22 times free cash flow. It's like, it is cheap. Uber's pretty freaking cheap. It's just that narrative on Uber sucks with Tesla. But also, oh, how could I forget? If Tesla's down 4%, of course Uber is up 4%. Like, that's why Uber's up right now. I was like, why was Uber up today but down yesterday? Well, it's because Tesla's down. The algorithms have them pegged so nicely to each other. It's like a hedge against Tesla. Exactly. It's like a hedge against Tesla. Costco is going crazy. There you go. 1,060. Costco continues to be the king of the double chunk chocolate cookie. So 1,060. There you go. There you go on cost. Is Shopify moving as well? Shopify 121. That's down, but still above 120. And then Palantir holding 104. Let me check 105 resistance and see what we're looking at on Palantir. We did hit 106.9 on Tuesday. 105 has 238,000 shares. All right, so that's going to be a little tough to get through. Dude, every time I look at Palantir on my brokerage and I see a triple-digit stock, I just like, I can't. I'm just like, bro. You know what it made me want to do yesterday? It made me wanna send a text to a girl at 1 a.m. and I was gonna be like, hey, I even took a screenshot of it. I was gonna tweet it. This is what I was gonna post. This is what I was gonna post. I was gonna post this. I was gonna post, hey, it's 1 a.m. and I'm drunk right now, but I just want to let you know the difference between you and Palantir is I made sure Palantir wasn't the one who got away. I was gonna send that text. You know, like it's just like every time I see triple digits, I'm like, I should text her and be like, you know what? I made sure to not let her get away with Palantir. So I was gonna I'm just kidding. Obviously, I'm kidding. I thought it'd be a funny tweet though. I thought it would be such a funny tweet, dude. I think I should still tweet it. I didn't tweet it last night, but I should tweet it, dude. Like, tell me this tweet isn't hilarious, bro. Hey, it's 1 a.m. and I'm drunk right now, but I just want to let you know the difference between you and Palantir is I made sure Palantir wasn't the one who got away. That's a good tweet. That's a good tweet. I gotta post it. Dude. I didn't post it last night though. I was like, screw it. I was too sleepy. But that's a funny tweet. I gotta post it. I think it'll be fun. There wasn't anyone I was actually gonna send it to. Okay, I'm kidding, right? I just typed it up and I was like, this is kind of funny. But I wasn't gonna legit send it to anybody. Also, I wasn't drunk last night. It was Wednesday. I wasn't drunk at 1 a.m. I don't drink. You guys know I can barely handle my Jaeger bombs. But I thought it was funny. When do you sleep? Dude, honestly, last night I was complaining about how I don't get sleep. This week's been the same. I've been sleeping at 2 a.m. every freaking day. And it's like then on Saturday, I end up sleeping like 15 hours to catch up on all the sleep I missed out on. But it's been bad, dude. I need to freaking, I wish I could sleep at 8:30 p.m. every day, dude. You know how happy I would be if I could fall asleep at 8:30 p.m., but that's impossible. That's legit impossible. I'll be so, if I could sleep by 11 p.m. every day, dude, I'd be happy. But it's just hard to do it. Send it to Steve. Oh my God, I should send it to Steve. Oh, I got to do it. I got to send it to Steve. Hold on, I'm doing it right now. Hopefully he responds during the show. I'm going to say, hey, it's 9:50 a.m. instead of 1 a.m. Oh my God, I got to send this to him. I have to. This is hilarious. How could I not send this to him? Hey, it's 9:50 a.m. and I'm drunk right now. But I just want to let you, he's going to hate me for this. He's legit going to hate me for this. But I made sure Palantir wasn't the one who got away. He's going to hate me for this, bro. But I got to send it. This is great. I should have sent it to him last night. That would have been even funnier. Okay, I just sent it. We'll see what he has to say. TSM 2, dude, I almost said Tesla 208. I was like, what? When did Tesla get to 208? It was just at 365. That's TSM. Tessie is at 368. All right, I'm buying another 10 shares of Tesla. Screw it. Buying the dip right here on Tessie. Dumbass 367 price on Tesla. Let's buy this right here. 10 shares. All right, here we go. We now have 40 shares of Tesla. We bought the dip. The bots, baby. The bots. The bots are coming. 40 shares now. Average 390 on Tessie. 40 shares, average 390. We're probably going to have to buy this way lower because it's Tesla, but that's why you DCA, right? That's why you DCA. Again, the actual reason I'm buying it for those that missed the beginning of the show is I saw this by Tesla yesterday, and this to me even if Tesla's going to 300 and, we're going to have to DCA even lower, they are now hiring in droves to produce the bot. And if they're getting ready to produce the bot, that means they have demand. That means they're going to get ready to ship it out. And I think the unit economics on the robots are going to be fantastic over the next decade. And that's going to be amazing for Tesla. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We're probably going to have to buy it much lower than here, but that's the beauty of DCA. You can never time it when it comes to Tesla. Where is Palantir? Palantir, wow, 105. We broke through 280,000 shares. Broke through 280,000 shares. Or 230,000. That was pretty quick. I said that was going to be hard. That was not hard at all. I thought 230,000 shares would be difficult. It's like well over above 105. Where's 106 now? Hold on. Let me check resistance for 106. 106 is resistance. Dude, 106 is easier. 106 is 60,000 shares. That's it. 106 is 60,000 shares. That's it. I mean, it could happen. 106 could happen again. 106 could indeed happen again. 107, let me check 107. Is 107 harder? 107 is 180,000 shares. So 107 is like 240,000. 107 is going to be tougher, but then again, 105 was almost the same amount and 105 happened easy. So I guess we'll see if 106 can get broken. Steve did not text me back yet. Steve did not text me back. Dude, I can't wait for his reaction. That would be hilarious. Amit, where do you see the order book on Robinhood? If you go to their advanced features, you have an order book flow. But if you guys download Webull also, like you guys see this right here. I just don't use Webull, but it's on Webull. There's some paid websites to get a NASDAQ order book flow level 2, or you can use Webull for free. I just use Robinhood because it's easier for me to navigate it. But a lot of these brokerage apps have the book flow. You might have to pay a little extra for it though. But Webull is free, so you can get it there for free. All right, we're holding 105. Holding 105. Wow, what is going on with SoFi, dude? What is happening? Is this about to go below 15? What is happening right here? Was the dip at 99 yesterday? Yeah, pretty much 99.7. Amit, what price will you sell Palantir? Dude, it's not about the price. It's just not. I mean, if it was the price, it would have been $60 would have been the price to sell. But it's just like, I don't know. I have zero desire. I just don't want to sell it. It's like, I don't know. There's nothing. I mean, when the company stops growing, I guess, when the thesis breaks, but if that's not stopping, then dude, I got a lot of cash and liquidity from Robinhood options. So I don't need the cash. For people that didn't have a really big win in terms of realized gains, that's what I would recommend. All right, trimming some of your Palantir position and realize those gains. But I got I got multi 6 figures from Hood options. I got another multi 6 figures coming up in a couple months when I sell the 2026 option. So there's no necessities. How do you think I'm buying Nvidia and Tesla? Like, it's not coming from Palantir gains. It's coming from the Hood options. So there's no necessity for me to realize profits, because what would I do with the money, right? Like, I don't know where else to put it. And I don't want to shift my Palantir $20 average for Nvidia 127 or Tesla 367. It's just like, I'd rather it stay there. So there's no price. There's no desire. It's just a question of when I think the company stops executing, which I don't think is going to happen for a really long time. ASTS right here is up 8%. Reddit's at 210. Reddit's getting hit 5%. Is SoFi below 15? SoFi is very close to below 15, 1501. HIMS right here up 1.3. Is Hood going red? Hood is going red, 5418, still holding 54, but SoFi is getting hit as well. Amid Doge employees were ordered to stop using Slack. Interesting. I didn't see that headline. Dude, I do think there's a world where Elon's getting ready to implement some Palantir into Doge, and that could be a reason why Palantir is running as well. Wow, up 4%. I mean, if there is a Doge catalyst that Karp did talk about, and Elon's getting serious about integrating software into Doge and replacing a ton of unproductivity with just AI software that's more productive, modernizing the stack, yeah, there's a world where Palantir gets a bid off that as well. So that could happen. SMCI also getting a bounce. Let's see if I'm break even on the SMCI options finally or not. SMCI, wow, I'm up. We're up $190 on SMCI options. And now we wait until earnings next week. and see if we can go higher. Nvidia 126, Netflix is green, Amazon is green as well. 237. Where's Palantir? 105.4. Again, 106. We have 60,000 shares. Not crazy, but we'll see if it can get through. Tesla 366. So Tesla still continues to fall, down 3%. And then you got Nvidia right here at 126. Grabs at 466. That's green by 2%. Big Bear AI is now up 1% on the day. Who's buying the SoFi dip? Who's buying and why is the SoFi dip even happening, dude? What is this red candle? Why is this happening? I don't know. I don't know, dude. That's weird. That's very weird. It's like there's no headline on SoFi other than, I don't know, shorts are doubling down or something. Oh, there's Sachin. Thank you for this. Compass Point analyst Giuliano Bologna maintains SoFi Technologies with a sell rating and adjusts the price target from 4 to 6. Why do people listen to this guy, bro? This guy has so much influence in the SoFi investing community, at least from an institutional side. 4 to 6, huh? 4 to 6. Well, that'll do it. That'll do it. I guess that'll do it. That's old news. Well, I mean, even if it's a couple days old, that's still bad. 1497 on SoFi. Goodness gracious. That's annoying, bro. That's annoying. Is it stupid? I think so. I don't think SoFi deserves to be here, but it is what it is. Is PayPal getting hit? If SoFi is getting hit, PayPal is also getting hit. Yeah, all of FinTech kind of taking a little bit of a hit. 78.92. And then Affirm is also red, 62.36 right here as well. Nvidia 125.93, Netflix 1007, Reddit's down 5%. Hims now giving back some of the gains. And Big Bear AI now going red as well. Is the S&P red? Where's the NASDAQ too? NASDAQ is green, but it's barely holding on to it. Yeah, S&P, looks like market might go red a little bit right here. I think it's algos more than anything, even on SoFi. We're seeing a lot of red here, and it's because the indices are selling off as well. Even Nvidia struggling to stay green. So this could be algos coming in here right now. Is Palantir holding up? Yeah, even Palantir just got hit at 105.74. Yeah, that's algos. That's algos coming in. That is definitely some algos across the board. We're seeing red. Well, not a horrible day to sell puts on some of these names, like a SoFi. What are the premiums on SoFi? Let me see. If they're good, maybe we'll sell some puts. SoFi, it's at $15. Let's go February 28th, sell put. I don't know. This is not that bad. You're giving 36 cents for $14. 2.5% on the 1450. You're getting 53. That is 3.6. Yeah, I don't hate the 1450 put for February 28th. That's up 50% on the day. So as a put seller, you want it to be up. You want the stock to be red so that the put premium goes up. I don't know. I feel like your cost base would be 14. I don't think that's crazy. Adjusted cost basis on SoFi. Nvidia 126. Amit, do certain institutions just hate Hood and SoFi because we don't need them anymore? No, I think that conspiracy theory has always been kind of weird to me. So some of the SoFi bulls will say, well, the banks hate SoFi because they're competing with SoFi. And like, look, there is some truth to that JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs or whatever, they don't like SoFi because they see it as a competitor. But dude, like JP Morgan has God knows how many tens of trillions in assets. They do so much business. Like, do they really think SoFi is going to take their lunch? SoFi is taking some of their business, yeah. But do they issue a downgrade on it because they're scared of that reason alone? I don't know. Like, I'm a bit skeptical on that. Because why isn't, some of these banks doing the same thing to Hood? They're giving Hood $60 price targets. Like, there's obviously a difference there. Not saying there's not any arguments that, JP Morgan is scared of Hood or Schwab is scared of Hood. Obviously, these guys are innovative and they're taking away some business. But in general, the SoFi doesn't have leaders on the street that give it a price target and a multiple that's exciting. Robinhood does, even if some of them are big banks. And I think that comes down to just execution more so than they think that they're a competing bank. But nonetheless, I think $6 would be stupid on SoFi. I think 13.50, 14 is stupid. So we'll just have to see how the analysts end up thinking of this one. When is your options 201 video? Probably in 2 weeks with Jason. Me and Jason are playing it out right now. I'm going to be in California all of next week. So the week after next week will be the options 201 video. Where's Tesla? Where is Tesla? Tesla is 364. Goodness gracious. Well, we're getting some red on Tessie. We're getting some good red on Tessie for the first time in a long time. It's been a good month and a half since we saw this level. The closest we got to it was earnings for like 2 minutes, and then Elon pumped it back up. 364 on Tessie. You got TQQQs up 0.31. How would you enter hood if you didn't have a position? I would sell puts, probably like 47. But I also don't think, buying the underlying is horrible right here. But if you don't want to buy it at this price, then yeah, 47, 48, even 45. It's not crazy. Hood could get a big hit after earnings if the street's just not happy because it's ran up so much. But it could also go higher if they kind of show that 2025 is going to be a repeat of 2024 in terms of earnings growth. Where's AMD? Is that recovering at all today? AMD down 1.5, so that's still red. Tesla's still up 25% in the last 3 months. That is correct. So that's still doing well. Can we get Jason's thoughts on Tesla? Well, we'll talk to him on Tuesday for sure. But again, his thoughts were 375. It had to, or 365, I think 375 was the support it had to hold. And since it didn't hold, that's why we're going down right here at 364. What else do we have? Let me see some other headlines we got going on. So we see the early moves in the market. Some things are red, some things are green. Overall market's relatively flat. There's no dramatic moves on earnings outside of Roblox. Trump just said we're going to drive the price of oil down. Everything will follow. He said that at that prayer breakfast he was at. Yeah, there's not that many crazy headlines. The Europe Central Bank, they cut rates by 25 bips, which was great. So we do have some more quantitative easing going on across the world. Nothing too crazy. Eli Lilly was good. They had good earnings. I mean, is their stock green right now? They beat on the top and the bottom. They're up 1.83%. And so I imagine guidance is not horrible either. Where's Roblox? Is Roblox still getting hit? Roblox is an 8. Look, if you've been bullish on Roblox, down 17%, the put premiums on this must be fantastic. So that could be another stock to wheel. I just don't know enough about Roblox, and I really don't like wheeling stocks I like legit know nothing about. But because then eventually if you get assigned on the shares, right, you got to be a big boy and accept that you got into that contract for a reason. But Roblox right here is down 17%. Rocket Lab's down 2%. Palantir, dude, Palantir still holding on to 105. Not giving it up at all. Just not giving it up. By the way, South Korea blocked DeepSeek. South Korean ministries blocked Chinese AI startup DeepSeek on security concerns. So there is no DeepSeek in South Korea. Tempest is up 122% since Pelosi bought it. So you got that one right here. That's down 3% of the day, but it's still up about 115% since she bought. Lenny, thank you for the $5 super chat. Admit, does it make sense to buy a call of AMZU at 48.46, strike 718 for 785, and buy a put strike for 48 for 221 at 350? Okay, AMZU is a bullish Amazon fund. So you want to buy a strike at the money for July 18th and then buy a put strike for 48 at 221. Okay, so the only reason this would make sense is if you're bearish short-term, bullish long-term, right? Because if you're buying a put for 14 days from now at this strike, that means you think it's going to fall below the strike. If you're buying a call, that means you think it's going to go above the strike by July 18th. Yeah, only if you're bearish short-term, bullish long-term does that make sense. If you're trying to straddle it, then I think you mean sell a put and sell a call. If you're trying to do like a different type of straddle, but I wouldn't have those expirations. I would have the expirations line up. But yeah, if you think Amazon's going to tank on earnings, you buy a put now, right? And AMZU would be your way to benefit from that. And if you think they're going to do well by July, then you buy a call. So it just really depends if you're short-term bullish, long-term bearish, or vice versa. SMCI is mooning. Where's SMCI? Wow, yeah, we got a 7% pump on this bad boy, benefiting from Nvidia. Dude, Tesla's about to go below 360. Holy crap, dude. Goodness gracious. I want to see where the support is. I want to see if there's any support in the 360s, or are we into the 350s? I guess we will find out. Are we at 106? We hit 106. Oh boy, we hit 106. There you go. We hit. All right, guys, we got to ring the bell for 106 on Palantir. I guess we now wait to see 107 if that could happen. This is kind of wild, bro. This has got to be kind of wild. This is like, everyone's got to admit, this is absolutely crazy. 107 has 69,000 shares. You know, another reason why this is crazy? It happened so quick. And I think everyone expected triple digits to be this type of like moment where, you know, you spend 10 years waiting to see those triple digits. And it took like 10 minutes after earnings. And so there's a little bit of like, wow, this is just like, it just happened and it's here. And you just realize that the street can change their narrative very quickly on a certain name. 106.91 is all-time high, correct? 106.91. So we're like 30 cents away from beating all-time highs. Market cap 242 billion on Palantir. 242 billion on Palantir. Look, I get it. I know the valuation doesn't make any sense. I'm not going to defend it. It would take like, I think I saw a stat, it would take like 200 years to pay back the premium if you actually were even growing at 30% or something crazy, right? There's a lot of stats out there that'll make this look insane, which, you know, frankly, yes, like the valuation's up there, but Palantir is not trading in accordance to traditional Wall Street metrics. That's just, it is what it is. Neither is Tesla. And you either accept that or you don't, but that is what's happening. And maybe that's not always going to be the case, but for now, that's the case. It's been the case for the past year, and it might continue to be the case as well. Hood's back at 54. SoFi still holding that 15 support. 1509 right here. Did drop below 15 for a second. Just wait until the multi-billion-dollar contracts start coming. Yeah, I mean, Karp was in Abu Dhabi yesterday. I don't know if people saw this, but he was there a day after the earnings call getting some business done. So you do have Karp starting to, I mean, dude, we have like, again, we have 700 customers. This company is going to have tens of thousands of customers one day, and they're going to be paying a lot of money because it's going to be software that actually works, not just money they have to pay for the hell of paying it. So international, we barely expanded. I mean, there's just so much room to grow. And is the street pricing in that growth? Yeah, but the street also really likes that there's enough room to grow and that they can get continued momentum. 106.4, 40 cents away from hitting all-time high. Amit, what do you think about long Rigetti? I am not into the quantum names. Thank you for the super chat, Sebastian. I don't really like the quantum names that much, so I can't have too much of an opinion on it. I'm not in it, but if you think there's a thesis and you think there's a catalyst for quantum, then Rigetti is obviously one of the ones that is up there. Do you see Reddit Amit? What do you think? I would not buy the dip on Reddit. I think Reddit is incredibly overvalued. Having said that, I have an average of 160 on this, so I wouldn't DCA at 210. Like I don't think, I don't know. Unless the earnings growth is going to be exceptional, which maybe it is and it justifies it. I would like a dip back to like 180 on Reddit. I don't think it has to go all the way back to 150, 160, but 180, 185 would be interesting to me. Even then it's, you know, it's up there, but if Reddit's going to trade at a premium, then that's fine. But I wouldn't buy a dip at like 209. Fartcoin is dying. Yeah, we haven't looked at Fartcoin in a second. Where's Fartcoin? Fartcoin, wow, 31% down. Wait, where's Bitcoin? Bitcoin is 97. So Fartcoin's going down way faster than Bitcoin. Bitcoin's down from 101 to 97. Fartcoin's down from like $1 to 45 cents. So that one's definitely losing some steam here. Losing some gas, or should I say. But that one's getting hit. All right, Palantir, 106.6, 30 cents away from all-time highs. 30 cents away from all-time highs. Guys, have you had your friends or family contact you about Palantir? Have you had like conversations like with that random friend you told to buy this stock, or with your like parents who you bought the stock for? Has that happened yet? Because I know for a lot of people on Twitter, they've been saying that their friends and family have been hitting them up a little bit more than usual about Palantir. Konu says, I am the random friend. Wow, a lot of you guys are saying yes. Jasmine says yes. Eeyore says yes. I told my father to sell it at 27 and he's freaking pissed. Well, I would imagine. One of my friends called me yesterday and said he's going to send me to Mexico. 106.5. JC said my girlfriend. Drago said my brother didn't listen. My boss owns Palantir. Found out when we was talking about AI. Oh, that's a lot of you. So a lot of you started preaching the gospel on Palantir, I guess, a year ago. And you got some people some money. I want to show you guys this tweet. This is a tweet from one of the Palantir employees, Wes, who's just an awesome guy. And he responded to someone about valuation. Now, again, Wes, he's not a stock market financial guy. He doesn't give a shit about valuation. He cares more about what the company's doing. But this person said, Palantir stock return over the last 5 years are similar to the 5 years I owned Nvidia, but that company had enormous growth in stages from cloud migration, crypto mining, and AI. Palantir stock growth comes from, what do they actually do again? No one knows, and you're not allowed to ask because the employees can't explain it. So here's what one of the employees said. As a former customer and current employee, I'll explain it. Commercially, Palantir builds software that runs your business, operational software you act in, make decisions in with humans and AI. Most operational software can't be bought off the shelf because company operations are highly differentiated. When companies do buy, they are usually disappointed as the software makes them work like every other company or doesn't work at all for their business. When they build freeform, they are also disappointed because building production software and AI is really hard and not their core business. Palantir produces software like AIP that builds custom software easier, faster, cheaper, and better, i.e. the most valuable software for which the TAM is unlimited. It is not hard to understand Palantir if you honestly try for 5 seconds. And I think this was a really just simple explanation because at the end of the day, Palantir is saying we sell outcomes. That's what we sell. And we make industry leaders become industry leaders, BP, Airbus, etc., because our software is transformative. Now, what is that worth? Well, that's probably worth a lot. Is that worth $242 billion today? That's what the market's saying it's worth. And you could disagree with that. Everyone's allowed to disagree with that. But nonetheless, if you're a company that actually produces some real shit and changes the world, the street's willing to give you a premium versus companies that don't. Having said that, is it expensive? Of course, on every conventional metric. But that, I think, is a simple paragraph to explain why the street's getting more excited about this name than a lot of the others. And I think that's why it's continuing to get the premium. Tesla is bouncing. Are we getting a little bit of bounce? Was 364 the bottom? Tesla 366. All right, 363.18 for now. Seems like a little bit of the bottom. Let's see if we retest that level. Trying to get back to 367. Hood 54.23 just went green. Palantir again 30 cents away from all-time highs. And then potentially 107 here today. SMCI as well at 34. SMCI as well at 34. Let me see if Steve texted me back. Did Steve text back? Steve's not going to text me back, dude. Steve's. Oh my gosh. Hopefully he sees this. I hope he's like in a meeting and he sees this and he just gets pissed off. That would be great. That would be so great. Trump media to launch Bitcoin Plus ETF. I don't know what that means, but that's the headline. Trump media, which I believe is DJT, which is up 1%, is launching a Bitcoin Plus ETF. Are they? Yeah, they're making their own Bitcoin ETF. Huh. Trump media has filed for multiple customly separately managed ETFs. And there's like 7 of them. And one of them is a Bitcoin ETF. One of them is an energy independence ETF. One of them is a Made in America ETF. Yeah, you got 3. Energy ETF, Made in America ETF, Bitcoin ETF. Huh. So Trump media is going to invest in public companies via ETFs. And I guess you can invest in them as well. They'll be public. Okay. So we got a president who has a Bitcoin ETF. That is, well, it's not bearish for Bitcoin. It's not bearish for Bitcoin. It is kind of wild. And then again, we had a president who launched the meme coin that we all forgot about, but that happened. But it's happening. Nvidia right here, 127. 127 on Nvidia. There we go, baby. Where is Palantir? Oh my God, Palantir. Holy crap. Holy crap. Congratulations. New all-time high, 107 on Palantir, baby. Dragos, thank you for the 50 gifted. You do not have to do that. I appreciate you, brother. Every dollar Palantir goes up, he gives 50 gifted. 50 of you guys just got memberships. Thank you for spreading the love and the blessings, Dragos, across the channel. Congrats, folks. 107. 107, baby. 107. I mean, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. 107.2. Let's you know what's better than 107? 108. Let's see what's the resistance. 108 is, I don't think it's as hard as 107 either. 108, it's 86,000 shares, which is lower than the 250 we just broke through. Dude, we just broke through 250,000 shares. 60,000 for 108. 60,000 for 108. Victor, thank you for the $20 super chat. Appreciate you, Victor. Thank you for the $20 super chat. Appreciate you being here and appreciate you being part of the show. Wow, 107, baby. How is Nancy not in this? How is Pelosi not in this one, dude? Like, I feel like it would have been too obvious if she bought it because she's part of the government, but still, dude, how does she miss this one? She doesn't miss like this, but she missed it. I mean, at the end of the day, Palantir is
powerful as fuck.
It is what it is. It is what it is, bro. Connor says, be real about Palantir. This makes zero sense. I am not saying numerically this makes sense. I'm not saying it is. And I've been, honestly, since $60, I've been saying numerically it doesn't make sense. But I also have to be humble enough to realize that Palantir is not trading on the numbers. It is what it is. It's not trading on the numbers. It's trading on something that's different. And you can hate it, you can love it, but that is the truth. It's like you either accept it or you don't. And I've just come to accept it. And I, quite frankly, am okay with it. If it dips, I buy the dip. If it doesn't, we get to hold on, right? Like, that's just like, what else can you say? Unless you think, like, here's where it gets scary, right? If you think Palantir is going back to 50 or 40, because this is the most epic bubble of bubbles, it's bubbly bubble, it's got to pop, then you sell. If you think, okay, it's expensive, I get it, but it's not going down 70%, even if it comes back to, at this point, 75, which would be a pretty nasty decline, right? 30%, but still you would be okay with holding on for the long term, even if we go down from 107 to 75, then really there's not that much fear, right? Even if it goes back to 60, there's not, it would be annoying. Yeah, I get it. But if it's not going back to 20 or 30, I don't know. And if your average is, I've been saying this over and over, but if your average is well below, even if the stock were to have a 50% drawdown, if your average is well below the 50% drawdown price, what is the logic on being so scared? Unless you think we're never going to get back to that price. Unless you think we go from 100 to 50 and we never go back to 100, which maybe. I just have a sort of philosophical disagreement from that standpoint subjectively, whereas if we do have a 50% drawdown, I think it would be one of the best opportunities and we would get back there if Palantir can continue the growth. And all inclinations show they are going to continue the growth and be one of the most important software companies in the world. And the street's just pricing that in before it happens. And it is what it is, right? It is what it is. So not trying to justify the numbers, but from a market cap perspective, valuation, but the stock's trading on something else. And everyone has to kind of just come to that conclusion. Oh, we're getting a phone call from a friend. Let's see what he has to say today. Steve, good morning. You're live on the Market Open.
You know your text message doesn't make any sense, right?
What do you mean my text message doesn't make any sense?
Read your text message.
My text message was, hey, it's 9:50 a.m. right now, and I'm drunk, but I just want to let you know that Palantir wasn't the one who got away. Why doesn't that make sense?
That makes zero sense.
I was going to send that. I was going to send.
And that's not what you wrote.
No. Okay, hold on. Let me read what I said word for word. I said, hey, it's 9:50 a.m. and I'm drunk right now, but I just want to let you know the difference between you and Palantir is I made sure Palantir wasn't the one who got away.
Yeah, one, it makes no sense. Two, why are you drinking in the morning?
I was gonna send that to my ex last night at 2 a.m., but I chose not to, and I chose to send it to you instead.
Okay. I'm just making sure that you're okay.
It's a joke, Steve. Obviously, I'm not drinking at 9:50 a.m.
All right, good. I have to go. I'll talk to you.
Wait, but Palantir's at 107. You didn't even want to talk, dude. You didn't want to talk at 107. You didn't want to talk. Dude, are we about to hit 108? Are we about to hit 108? Are we about to hit 108? 108 has 90,000 shares now. 90,000 shares. 90,500 shares. Maybe we can get there. I think Steve literally called to make sure I wasn't drunk because he's actually like concerned about me. How did Steve not get that was a joke? I hope like when I talk to him, I hope he knows that was a joke. Because Steve is one of those guys who's like, he has a sense of humor, but he'll actually take things seriously when it's like obviously not serious. And I think he legit thought I was drunk. look at this text. He says, just make sure your life isn't spiraling out of control. Call you later. This guy really thought I was drunk at 9:50 a.m., dude. This guy is crazy. Just making sure your life isn't spiraling out of control. Call you later. How did he not get that was a joke, bro? Goodness gracious. This is the problem. If you don't get that's a joke, you can't understand that Palantir's at 107. You need to be creative on Palantir's valuation, not analytical. You need to be creative. That's a good friend. No, obviously that's a good friend, but that's also a friend that's being very dense because it's a joke. I'm not drunk at 9:50 while I'm streaming. I've never been drunk while I'm streaming. The only time I did it was New Year's Eve. Dude, the amount of talking that I do on a stream, do you think I could be drunk analyzing the markets? Like the amount of stuff I have to analyze every millisecond, there's no way I could be drunk trying to analyze this stuff. But I am drunk on Palantir today. Shout out to Chad, just showed up. What's going on? Well, first of all, Mr. Chad, I got to give a congratulations to him. Our boy Chad, who is the reason that the retail community really started getting some connections institutionally with Palantir, because he kind of made sure that the company realized how special we were, just crossed 10,000 followers today. So there you go. Shout out to Mr. Chad, 10,000. It's very, very, very hard to grow on X. It is not easy. It's really hard to get people's attention and to make content that people want to see and to get people to care about it. So it's a grind to grow on social media. Chad started with 0 last year in February. And a year later, literally in February, a year later, 10,000. So shout out to Chad. And yeah, Chad, we were just talking about Palantir being at $107. That's all. Where's my walk-up music? Oh my gosh. Dude, 107.65. 107.65. That is incredible. Now 107.03. 107.03 on Palantir. Steve needs context. Yes, he always needs context. He definitely always needs context. Dude, but this is pretty incredible, dude. I mean, we're holding 107 right here. 108 has 90,000 shares. There's so many bids for 106 and below. So even if it drops, I mean, I think that dip gets eaten up right here. Volume on the day for Palantir is 33 million shares. So you have a decent amount of volume. Tesla's bouncing. Are we getting a little bouncy bounce on Tesla? We are at 368. All right. Right back to where I bought it. I think I bought it at 367. So a little bit of a bounce here right now. Palantir 107, SMCI up 7.5, Hood 53.69, S&P at 604 here right now. Is SoFi down below 15? Are we getting hit? Wow, SoFi. Dude, that's ugly. SoFi is being ugly. SoFi is being ugly. If you send Steve a joke, you got to send a disclaimer that it's a joke. Yeah, probably. I was just like, I thought it was pretty obvious I was joking, but he didn't get it. He didn't get it. He's a good friend, though. Wants to make sure I'm not drinking. The one thing I think none of my friends will ever have to worry about, or my family, is me like becoming an alcoholic. Like I can't handle liquor, dude. Like I can't drink. You guys saw me on New Year's Eve. I had one shot of Jaeger and I freaking was acting like I was slurring my words and stuff. Like I can't drink. I know I can't drink. So I don't think I've ever gonna have to worry about alcoholism. Palantir just tweeted about Grok. So we talked about this in the morning. Palantir is now integrating Grok into AIP, which again, I don't think that's the reason it's pumping right now, but that's like a really good thing. Obviously, that just means that the LLMs again are a commodity and the software that implements them is where the value is. And that's what we're seeing with Palantir. So very simple, very, very simple stuff. And that's what we're getting right now. And again, it just continues to prove Karp's argument that It's not about building an LLM. It's about making it useful in an operational context. Chris says the only Punjab I know that doesn't drink. Yeah, see, I don't even Chris. I mean, dude, Indian people know how to drink, especially Punjabis. They know how to drink. And when I go to Indian weddings, I'm the guy who's like, can I get a Shirley Temple? Like, I can't, like, I don't know how to handle drinks, whiskey, black label, all that stuff. That's what Indians drink the most. I can't do it. I just can't do it. Chat says Grok is really good, amazing at vision use cases. So that's the other thing about Grok that's interesting. Like, there are certain LLMs that are good at some stuff and other LLMs that are good at other stuff. Palantir doesn't care. Palantir says, all right, we'll incorporate all of them and we'll use KLLMs to be able to make them valuable to an enterprise no matter what they are. So it's nice to see that Grok's in there. Llama, Gemini, Claude, all of these guys can create value integrated with AIP. Palantir's 30 cents away from 108. Palantir's 30 cents away from 108. Amit, you are black label on a Punjabi surname, bro. See, even Sachin knows I should be able to drink, right? Sachin knows. I can't do it, Sachin. I remember, dude, the first time I really drank black label was my fraternity rushing party. We had just rushed the fraternity and we were getting initiated. So they have this like massive party. This is back in 2018. And they had me drink, I think, like legit 5 shots of black label. And I woke up the next morning, I puked. It was so bad. I couldn't handle it. 104,000 shares at 108. 104,000 shares at 108. And so I can't do it, dude. And again, it's ironic because my dad owned a liquor store growing up. So I was surrounded by Jack Daniels and Smirnoff Ices and Mike's Hard Lemonade and Heineken and all these different brands. Like I used to walk through the liquor store all day because I'd be bored after school and I'd just be like, just walking around the store. And so I saw all these brands, but I never kind of fell into the drinking, I guess, ethos, even though I was surrounded about it my whole life. All right, 108, I think has a chance, bro. 108, I think has a chance. 107.68, 110,000 shares on 108. Now the share, the wall increases slowly by slowly a little bit. So you have more people putting up their shares for sale at 108. But I think there's a shot. 6.3%. Palantir market cap now 245 billion. Bitcoin right here 97,000. SMCI is up 7%. SoFi getting demolished. Tesla a little bit of a bounce. 367, 363.18 was the intraday low. SoFi 14.18. Palantir 107.7 here right now. Maybe you saw enough bad examples of alcohol abuse. No, dude, my parents don't drink either, and I don't have any friends that like. I'm very blessed. I never had to grow up with like any type of alcohol abuse in my personal life. My dad never liked it. My mom never liked it. I mean, like they drink wine here and there with like friends, but aside of that, it just never became a thing. My sister completely stopped drinking like 3 months. Like even in India, bro. In India, like even with family, I would drink a little bit. She wouldn't even drink with us at all. She's like completely done with it. So I don't know. I'm not opposed to drinking. I just never, like I would never drink at home by myself, you know? Like I don't tend to do that too much. But I know people that know how to make a good drink and make a nice whiskey and stuff. They love doing that. So I don't know, maybe when I move out and I learn how to like make drinks and stuff, get a little bit of a bar, maybe that happens. A mate can't handle a beer. Exactly. A mate can't handle a beer. Oh, shout out to my uncle. He's in the chat. He says uncle drinks on behalf of the entire family. Exactly. My uncle's a tank, bro. He can drink. And that's weird, right? Because I can't follow it. Like he can freaking drink, bro. Could have like 10 shots in a night and have nothing affect him. But he can drink. 107.65. Again, we're holding on right here. Grab is still up 1%. Big Bear's up 2%. Market's now going green. Under Armour's up 1%. Archer's up 1/3%. Snappy Chat is still red from yesterday, but it's up a little bit. Meta, wow, 715 on Meta. There you go. 715 on Meta. Meta's holding. Tesla 366. SoFi getting hit badly. Covered calls must be printing on that one. And then Palantir very close to 108, 30 cents away. 30 cents away. Yes, I'm coming to the Bay Area. If you go to my Twitter, or I'll just put it right here, the chat, the forum, I'll be sending out an email this weekend. February 13th will be the day of the meetup. So if you're in the Bay Area, February 13th, Palo Alto, I will be there. Amit, for the love of God, please tell me your dad's store was called the Quickie Mart. It was not. It was called the Boyden Pantry. It was called the Boyden Pantry. So it was not called Quickie Mart. Boyden was like the neighborhood it was in around Maplewood, New Jersey. And then Pantry is just you know, like a pantry. It was not called Quickie Mart. Amit, did you see Josh Brown compare Palantir's PE to Tesla? I didn't, but I would love to see that clip. Was that out from yesterday? I didn't know they're talking about Palantir. It makes sense they're talking about Palantir. Everyone is talking about it. Dude, Palantir, if you look at the Twitter analytics, Palantir had like 50,000 posts about it yesterday. Oh, we're close, baby. 107.83. We are close. We are close. The 10 years at 4.436. Let's see if I can pull up that compound clip. Amit, do you buy into strength here and double down on Palantir? Look, I think the time to buy into strength was from 30 to 60, quite frankly. Is it crazy buying into strength here? No, but you have to understand the valuation you're paying is, you know, at 60 it was one thing, at 107 it's another thing. So buying into strength at all-time highs is got to be kind of reasonable. This one, it's reasonable if you think the valuation will just continue getting a premium, and maybe it does. So I don't know. It's a hard thing. Like even I can't answer that. At 30 to 60, my answer was no, and I was wrong. The obvious answer was yes there. At 107, I don't know if the obvious answer is going to be yes. But so far it's where, I mean, I'm green on the 10 shares I bought on Monday at 103. So far it is playing out. Okay, let me see if I can pull up that clip. Let's see where they talk about Palantir and Tesla. Let's see if we can pull this up. Palantir 107.6 got rejected at 107.94. Got rejected at 107.94. Amit, how do you know if you're so underwater on your covered calls that it doesn't make sense to roll them and you should just let them get called away? Well, it's up to you. You can always roll them. You can always roll them. I mean, like, it depends on, do you want to keep the shares, right? So if you have covered calls at 80 on Palantir and you're obviously underwater right now because it's at 107, you can roll them up a year out and you can probably get to like 130 and 140. You're going to have to pay a debit. You're going to have to pay the piper, which is inevitable. Or you let them get called away and you say, I don't care that my shares are getting sold at 80. But that's subjective. That's based on how much you want to keep the shares. If you want to keep them, you can always roll. And you can roll to like June 2027 for 160. Now, maybe that's way too far in the future, but at least you're minimizing the amount you have to pay and you get $160 versus $80. So it really just depends how badly you want to keep the shares. But, you know, that depends on how much you want it or not. 108 still has 100,000 shares. Did you go to school at Columbia High? I did not. Columbia High was near my dad's store, but I did not go to school there. I took SAT classes, though, at Columbia High, like after-school program classes there. But I never actually went to high school there. 107.54. Okay. I guess same question to everyone that I asked at 100. Are you excited or nervous about Palantir's price action right now? Are you excited or nervous about this price action? Let's see. Excited means you don't care if it goes down and you think it can go up. Nervous means you are very scared this thing is bubbly, and you're really afraid about it. Drago says we are still cheap. I mean, 5 years from now, dude, probably we are still going to be cheap. That's the thing. There's two scenarios that play out for Palantir. Either it has the Tesla scenario where 2021 to 2024, it was flat and dead money, and it really sucked for Tesla shareholders because the valuation got way too ahead of itself. Or it's going to be, this is always going to be expensive and we're going to go a lot higher and no one's ever going to understand it. And it's going to be a great next 5 years. It's one or the other, in my opinion. Like, we either break down and it's dead money for 3 years because the valuation couldn't sustain itself, which happened on Tesla just recently. You know, it broke out November 5th, but till then it was dead money. And you're really just breaking even if you bought in 2021 and you're buying now, right? For Tesla. Or it's just Palantir doesn't need to have that type of Tesla decline because it's a different type of market cap, different type of situation, different type of earnings multiple, different type of narrative, different type of thesis, different type of growth rate, different type of macro cycle. We've got interest rates that are getting cut, not interest rates that are going up. And as a result, Palantir can trade the way it trades. It's one or the other. It's one or the other. Okay, Cole, let me pull up that clip. Thank you for the timestamp right there. Let's pull that up right here, and then we'll watch that. Okay, so this is at 2150. So let's see what they have to say here. We'll keep an eye on if we get to 108, but here's what Josh Brown had to say about Palantir and Tesla yesterday.
So Palantir's growth now, and listen, they've had explosive growth, like earnings wise, but it's a lot of the growth in terms of the stock price has been driven by multiple expansion. So of the 504% gain over the last year, four-fifths has more than that has come from multiple expansion. Chart 2. Look at the forward PE and the forward price to sales. And maybe in a vacuum, you're like, yeah, it looks high, but check this out compared to Tesla back in the day. So ChartKid made overlaid Tesla's forward PE in 2014 and 2015 when it was like the craziest valuation. And of course, we know how that ended. It very much grew into its valuation. And then some. Palantir looks similar. So people just don't like, or people that got their MBA and spent time on Wall Street doing intrinsic value and discounted cash flows, they can't wrap their arms around story stocks. And it's just not for them. And of course, there's like resentment and stuff, you know, that they missed it. So anyway, it's been a hell of a ride, and congrats to everybody that owned it.
He's also the bet noir of like a whole coterie of professional short sellers. I kind of think he's the new Elon Musk. Like they're not shorting Tesla anymore, or at least I hope they're not. This guy had a stock price that went from 13 to 30, and I think he attracted a lot of negative attention from shorts. I think Chanos, when he was still running the fund, was.
We just broke through $108 in an instant on Palantir. Dude, I literally just tweeted a picture of 107 while we were watching that clip. Like, when I mean 2 seconds before it went to 108, I tweeted that. You can see it right now. 47 seconds ago, I tweeted this picture. And, well, here we are. Here we freaking are, dude. Look at this. 58 seconds ago, I tweeted this. I was like, well, I got some time, right? 107? This is just exceptional. We just got rejected at 108, even though we broke about. Damn, so 100,000 shares were bought. We bumped up to 108.19. Now we are back at 107.5. But it continues. It continues. I mean, dude, what do you say? What do you freaking say? It is what it is. It is what it is. Momentum is there, and the momentum is not slowing down. The momentum is not slowing down. Some of you guys are saying I just sold some Palantir. Flood Farm says I just sold all my Palantir. Look, I can't blame you. If you got to take profits, you take profits. If you got to take profits, you take profits. But if you just believe in the long-term trajectory, then you believe in the long-term trajectory. It is what it is. 107.50 right here on Palantir. Yes, Steve did respond to the text, and Steve said Steve was concerned that he thought I was actually drinking in the morning. He didn't get it. He didn't get it. So it didn't work out as we wanted to. But he's a good friend. He had to make sure I wasn't actually drunk at 9:50. 107, dude. Holy crap. 108.19. It got rejected hardcore there, but it broke through. Yeah, I see a lot of you guys saying you sold. Look, it is what it is. You got to sell. Oh, wow. Palantir just surpassed Alibaba in market cap. Holy crap, dude. Palantir is more valuable than Alibaba. Quantum says I sold 1,000 shares at 107.5. Congrats. For those that took profits, congrats. This is pretty wild, though, bro. Like, I mean, I think everyone can admit it's pretty freaking wild. The employees must be looking at this thing right now saying, what is going on, bro? What is happening? It's I don't know, dude. It's at the end of the day, unless retail has this much liquidity and they're pumping it up, I just don't think it's retail. Obviously, some of it's retail, but I don't know how you go up this fast and within such velocity if you don't have big players coming in. And the key thing is, again, if we have a massive dip and some retail gets burned, I mean, look, they bought at all-time highs. No one's going to feel bad for them. But if you bought 2 years ago and we have a 50% drawdown, you're still going to be fine, right? So it's one of those things where it's like, again, if you were early, you just sit back and relax and kind of see how it plays out. If you want to take profits, you take profits. But It is pretty incredible. It's pretty freaking incredible. Carp met with the EAU yesterday, not today. He met with them yesterday. We're doing it. That is great. Oh, I gotta clip that. I gotta clip the "we're doing it." That's a great one. I gotta clip, dude. That's a good one. The "we're doing it." That's perfect. That one I definitely need to clip. When Carp says "we're doing it," that's a perfect one to have on the soundboard. My boy just texted me that he sold 30 shares of Palantir. Everyone's like, all right, I'm taking some profits here, man. I'm taking some profits here. We got some people taking some profits. That's also family friendly. Correct. That's also family friendly. Mark says my average is 29. I'm freaking out right now. Yeah, I mean, dude, here's my thing. I don't need the cash, so I don't see a reason to sell for me. But for those that need the cash, that is not a bad thing to do. If you need the cash, you need the cash and you sell. Like, I don't think you overcomplicate. You don't have to be emotional about it. I personally think holding some for the future is a good idea. But if you really want to take profits, you don't get super emotional. You take profits. This is the difference between this community and the GameStop community. The GameStop community would never sell because they were just obsessed with GameStop, but GameStop wasn't anything real. It was bullshit. Palantir is the furthest thing from bullshit. It's very real. And so that's why when you have an investor base that actually wants to hold on to something real, even if it is expensive, you can get these movements. But also, if you need to take profits, you need to take profits. Like the employees took profits, their SARs were profits, the insiders took profits. So I don't think anyone should feel anything weird about taking profits. It's just one of those things where if this thing can keep going, then the profits could be even better in the future by holding on. It's not about needing cash. It's about protecting capital. You become emotionally attached and that's dangerous. Yeah, but I disagree with that if your average is well below. Like, first of all, if my average is 20, my average is like 25, and I never expected 107 in 2025 February. I expected that in 2030, quite frankly. Protecting capital means that you want to protect paper gains. The problem is I never thought we would get these paper gains, which means there's nothing to protect, in my opinion. Like the protection comes from something where the protection comes from Palantir. Your average is 25. Palantir's at 30. You see August 5th coming up, right? Or something, or like you see a Japanese yen carry trade, and protection of capital is, hey, I don't know what the implications of the yen carry trade are, but I'm going to protect my capital and try to make sure that my money doesn't get hit. So I'm going to sell some shares right here, even though there's this like cataclysmic recessionary thing that could happen. Now, Japanese yen carry trade ended up being a nothing burger, but the point is that to me is a protection of capital. This is a protection of paper gains. And if you don't protect your paper gains, okay, your paper gains get lower, but it's not like you missed out on anything crazy, especially if your paper gains are not going back to the average that is at this point 80% below the current stock price. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, my average is 25. It's at 107. What's the worst it gets to? 60, which could happen, sure. And I wouldn't be too upset to buy shares right there. But if that does happen, I missed out on the profits, the paper profits from 60 to 107. But if I sell, and I do believe Palantir can be much bigger than this in 5-10 years, then how am I protecting my capital, right? Especially when there was no reason in the earnings call to sell. Now, valuation could definitely be a reason to sell. But then that comes back down to, if your average is 75, yes, I think you should sell, because I think you there's a good chance you can get back to 75. But if your average is 20, your average is 7, it's like, all right, we just hold on. You just fucking hold on. At least that's my perspective on it. But everyone else can have, their own opinion here. Chris CRM says taking profits can be awesome. Depends on your strategy and goal. The only reason you hold is because you don't need the cash and believe it will continue to run up over time. There are more Palantirs. Exactly. I mean, look, at the end of the day, if you believe that this is absolutely ridiculous and unsustainable, you sell and you move on with your life and you don't go crazy. And if this thing falls back to 65, I'll be the first person to say, yeah, that's pretty reasonable. It probably, did need to take a breather, and it is what it is. And the market cap's more reasonable now, et cetera. I personally don't see the catalyst to get it down that bad unless we have a crazy economic bubble, which is possible in the macro. I don't see that coming though. Or Palantir messes up on earnings growth this year. And the way they guided, and I think they're sandbagging, they're not going to mess up. Now, you could say even if Palantir grows at 70% this year, this valuation is not justified. Sure. But then it comes down to the qualitative narrative-oriented reason for why the stock is going up over the metrics. And that's just the debate that people have been having since the stock hit 40, and they'll probably continue to be having as well. Or you can just sell some covered calls. Yes, that's another reason. You could just sell some covered calls and collect some premium if you think that the price is really getting ridiculous. So that could also happen. Especially because there's, call buyers that are at 150 a month from now are paying you a decent premium, So that's another thing that could happen. Where's Hood? Hood's going down. We're getting some red on Hood. Hood 53.27. Yeah, down 1.7%. Again, Hood's still holding 50, so I'm very happy with Hood's performance. It broke 55 today for a little bit, holding 53. Was at 38 2 weeks ago. So Hood kind of consolidating in the 50s. Nvidia 126, Costco 1000, Netflix 1010, Amazon 237, Peloton 872. That's up 15%. Grabs up 1%. Hims is down 0.5%. Big Bear AI down 1/3. Google up a little bit, 192. Rocket Lab down 2% as well. All right. This is crazy, bro. This is crazy. Yo, FinTwit must be losing their mind right now. FinTwit, these bears on Twitter must be losing their mind on this. I mean, dude, at freaking 50, 60, they were going insane about this. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Also, again, there are billions of shares outstanding on Palantir as well. So it's not like this is a 30 million share float that you could pump up and squeeze. Like the short float's also barely 4%. So like it's like there's just a lot of money and volume coming into the name in order to move it. Where is Tesla? Where is Tesla? Tesla is 365. All right, so Tesla not really showing any support in the 360s outside of that 363 low, but still down right here. Let's go back to Josh Brown and finish that comparison, and then we'll keep going from here.
Betting against this thing. I think part of it is he talks very hyperbolically in his public pronouncements, Alex Karp, and he's like very animated, and it's a little Elon-esque. He's got the big James Altucher hair.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of elements to this that you picture a cynical professional short seller, just like who is this jerk off?
Yeah, he's a showman.
He's a showman, and you're right. They really don't like that, and that makes them want to dig in and do work on something.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing as Tesla. So the percent of shares outstanding that are sold short is got as high as just under 8%, and now it's down to 3%. So it's still relatively high compared to the average stock, but nothing like Tesla back in the day.
Somebody in the chat is suggesting that Elon might get jealous of all the attention Alex Karp is now getting. And Elon effectively is the king of America. That would be an interesting subplot if these guys were playing on the same side and they're all on this America First kind of bandwagon. And then there's not enough room for two of these guys to exist.
Well,
I don't know.
Not knowing anything really about the story, but if there's access to an infinite runway of government spending with AOI, it makes sense. I'm not saying that it's, I'm not commenting on the future path of the stock, but it makes sense why it would trade at these seemingly ridiculous valuations.
I like this guy, and I saw him. Bill Larson is saying I saw him on Bill Maher and bought the stock the next day. I also saw that appearance, and I should have bought it the next day, but I didn't. But he's got this shtick where he's a progressive. He's not like one of these like I'm like the new right wing guy. That's not his thing. But he's extremely pro-Israel and extremely pro-America, and I think he became really outspoken.
Very anti-woke.
Very anti-woke because I think he thinks it threatens the country's ability to defend itself, and he is like very heavily focused on defense.
Yeah.
So it's a really interesting, like you can't like put him in a box and be like, oh yeah, I know who this guy is. He's not a stereotypical anything. And he has a book coming out later in February, which I almost.
And again, that book, dude, that book's going to be great marketing for Palantir. It's going to be great marketing for Palantir. 107.68. Dude, here's my thing. Here's my real thing. This is the conclusion I've come to over the past couple of days as I've just been, dude, can you guys believe on Monday we had earnings? Like, it feels like it's been all blur. That's what it feels like. It feels like it's been a blur. Like, literally, we've been drunk on Palantir for the past 4 days. It's been a blur. Freaking Monday, they shocked everyone with this type of growth. The street reacted the way it did. Now we're like normalizing triple digits, which is insanity, but we're normalizing it every single day. We're looking at this triple digit stock. The conclusion I've come to, and I touched upon this a little bit on Tuesday, was so many times retail has been screwed by Wall Street. So many times. And I don't need to go through the examples. Like, it's just objectively, it's happened time and time and time again. If you guys want a fun example, look up JP Morgan $920 million fine September 2020. Look that up on Google. JP Morgan $920 million fine September 2020. You go down the rabbit hole. I mean, like, retail has been screwed many, many times by the street. On Palantir and Tesla, retail beat the street. And I quite frankly don't give a flying you-know-what about the valuation when it comes to that perspective. Because when I see average 9-to-5 people, nurses, policemen, people that have, they're taking something out of their paycheck and they're trusting in Palantir when it's $6-7, and now they're getting these types of returns that they would never be able to get in their salary positions, and they're able to have a level of financial freedom and take care of their mortgage and their family. Like, to me, screw the valuation. That is what matters more to me. And the reason that's what matters more to me is because the only reason they're able to get that level of financial freedom is for two things. Number one, they believed in CARP when no one did. Number two, the big boys, AKA the people that screw the little guys every single time, got screwed. It's just a fact. Like, the reason this thing is at 107 is not just because retail keeps buying it up. Institutional holdings are well above 50% at 53.4% at this point. The big guys are buying in. They're having to be a premium. All these price target upgrades from Bank of America, HSBC, Citibank, Jefferies, all these guys are telling their clients that they pay a lot of money to be able to get that research that, yeah, you probably got to buy it here because the moat is differentiated, the ontology, yada, yada. They're making up whatever reasons that we came up with 2 years ago to buy it at 6. They're making up those reasons at 80 and 100. And now the big guys are buying in. And so when I see someone who took a lot of money at the time in 2022 that they probably couldn't afford to lose, and they trusted in a name that is one of the most authentic names in the world in terms of their ability to execute, their leadership, the backbone, what they believe in. And they're getting rich off something that is probably very expensive and highly valued, and in all quantitative metrics makes no sense. I remind myself, Palantir was never supposed to make sense. This journey was never supposed to make sense. A retail investor leading the movement was never supposed to make sense, but that's why Palantir is where it is today. It was never going to happen on Snowflake or Datadog or any of these. It was always going to be on a unique, unusual unicorn that is Palantir, which we're back to 108 right here. So if that's the journey and that's how this is playing out and that's why people are getting rich on it, then I'm more than happy to see that happening. And some people will say bubble, that's fine. I say, look, valuation's expensive, but the valuation was always going to be expensive because this was either going to be a make or break. This was either going to be this retail community figured it out and Wall Street didn't, and they have to buy our shares higher, or we were going to be dead wrong and Wall Street was going to be right again. We just ended up being right. And a lot of people ended up making money from it. And as a result, that's why we're here today. So those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts on kind of how I reconcile what's been happening. Amazon is selling off a little bit, 239 to 237. Google as well, continuing to sell off a bit at 192, even though it's recovering from 189, but still down on the day. Barry says, I was nervous putting in as much money as I did a few years ago. It was constantly on my mind. Dude, you and me both. Everyone was, dude. This was real money. Back in 2022, when you're already down 70%, it sucks, bro. It sucks. Like, but to still believe in that moment, that's why you're rewarded for this, right? And that's why it's happening. Why does every stock community eventually become a righteous crusade? I don't think every stock community becomes. I think there's like the ones that actually mean something do, right? And Palantir and Tesla have been righteous crusades against a lot of a overarching industry that didn't believe in them or didn't want them to win. And the crusade happened from retail, and that's why we're seeing this momentum. But I think not every stock community is like that, right? The actual underlying company, like the truth to all this is that the company has to be the reason the GameStop crusade is not a crusade anymore. It's just bag holders and that are like that are holding a stock that is $4 billion in cash that is not doing anything with it, is because there's nothing real to GameStop. And they're saying for a lot of the same thing for AMC. But for Palantir, the company's actually doing stuff that's important. Is it highly valued? Of course. But the street is choosing to believe in it more and more. Are we about to hit 109, folks? Are we about to hit 109? 108.4. 109 would be resistance is 29,000 shares, which is a lot lower than 108. 29,000 shares. So we got 30,000 shares to see if we get there. 30,000 shares to see if we get there. Troy, thank you for the super chat. All the excitement with Palantir. We will have Robinhood to add to it next week. Yes, I mean, look, Robinhood's had a good run. They've got to have a strong earnings as well in order for them to do well. But I do think Hood's going to have a strong move this year. I mean, I think my price target was like 55, 60 in the beginning of the year. And now it just feels like the growth is going to be there. And the reason the growth is going to be there is because market's holding up. And that was my big concern with Robinhood in January, which is like, if the market doesn't hold up and there was the CPI, Trump inauguration, all these concerns, then we would have an issue. I know we're only a month and a half into the year, but so far bull market's holding up. And if that's the case, Hood's going to benefit. And rates might not come down as dramatically, which means Hood also benefits from their net interest income that they can get off relatively high rates. So as Bank of America said, it's a Goldilocks zone for them. And they're innovating and they're pushing product and they're executing. So I do think this year could take them much higher, potentially into the 80s with S&P inclusion later throughout the year. 108.6. 109 is up next. 109 is up next. My battery is exhausted on my camera. Even my camera couldn't handle the Palantir run today, dude. Even my camera couldn't handle it. Defense says it's difficult to work seeing Palantir climb so much. Hard to concentrate at work right now. How many of you guys should be working, but you're staring at Palantir? Put in the chat. How many of you guys are working from home and you're moving your mouse on your Microsoft Teams so that your manager can see that there's some action on your I don't know, your project management software or whatever. But in reality, you're looking at Palantir. Oh my God, is everybody. Michael says I'm in the office watching this. Johnny says, LOL, I'm actually on Teams. I know you guys, bro. I know you guys in corporate America. Because I have some friends and I slept over their house one night and they had to woke up in the morning and they were like moving their freaking mouse. I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you just moving the mouse? I was like, oh, my boss needs to see that I'm actually doing something. It's just like, what? What is this, bro? It's hilarious. That's hilarious. Damn, calling me out. Yep, I'm calling all you out. Wow, there's like 500 of you just commented. Me. I'm still in the office looking. It's hilarious, bro. 108.3. Dude, wow, none of you guys do. This is why America's not productive, bro. This is our issue. That's why everyone's getting replaced here with AI, bro. You guys keep doing this shit. First of all, you'll be able to retire off Palantir, so hopefully it won't affect you if you get replaced by AI. But all your employers are going to realize you guys aren't doing shit. And AI is coming for this, bro. This is why we have a productivity issue in the United States. Goodness gracious, bro. No one's working. I mean, can you blame yourself? It's up 6%. You know the meme that's the funniest meme? You know that meme where it's like when your boss says, why are you late after Palantir's up for 30%, and that meme where you just look at them and you're like, shut your mouth. You can't talk like that. That's the funnest meme. That's the funnest one. Wow, no one does work. No one does work anymore. Well, good thing Palantir is doing work for us. Good thing Palantir is doing some work for us. 108 we are holding currently right now. Let's see if we can continue getting up there. Again, 109, 30,000 shares of resistance. Tesla still is dropping though, unfortunately. Tesla's getting hit. Trying to look for something right here. I want to pull it up in a second. Oh yeah, this is the one. This is the one I was looking for. Here you go. This is all of you guys right here. This is all of you guys. All of you guys. This is you. Hey, man, thoughts on any energy stocks like Fluence Energy? I haven't heard of Fluence Energy. I like the energy sector. Haven't made an investment in them yet. I know GE Vernova, Next Decade, Kinder Morgan. Vistra, all of these are energy plays, but haven't taken an investment in any of them yet. For those asking why is Palantir going up today, I don't know. I would say earnings continuing to spill over. There's not really like any big catalysts. I mean, they incorporated Grok into OpenAI, or it's not into AIP, but you know, whether it's Gemini, GPT from OpenAI, Grok, Claude from Anthropic, that's just part of the moat around AIP to incorporate all these LLMs. So I don't think that's a reason why it's up right now. Michael says I make more money watching a bit than I make in my job. Oh my gosh. Well, if it's with Palantir, then hold on. I think we got a headline from Evan. Alex, or not Evan, this is from Pebos. Alex Karp is in UAE right now meeting with Crown Prince for new contracts. Well, that's a headline we saw yesterday. So yes, that's not a new headline, but yes, that I mean, maybe if more people are realizing Palantir is going to be expanding to the Middle East, that could be a catalyst for why we're seeing this price action movement. But it could also just be the big guys are buying today. Yeah, that was yesterday. That was all news. Yeah, that was yesterday. I thought that was new news. That was from yesterday. But more Saudi contracts, dude. The Saudis have money. The Saudis have money. And they want to invest in AI. So Amazon right here, 237, DJT 3061, Palantir 107.55. And that's the other thing. We barely expanded internationally. And the fact that we barely expanded internationally means that we now have the ability to start scaling as the brand gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Oil money is big money. Oil money is indeed big money. Grab is up 2%. I finally got the Robinhood picture-in-picture. Wow, I finally got it. Look at that. So for those that don't know, there is an update on Hood where you can picture-in-picture the stock. Look at that. So now, even if I move like my apps, Palantir stays in the corner. That means I literally can stare at this thing every day. I've been waiting for this feature to finally hit, and now it's hit. So I never have to stop looking at Palantir. That's wild, bro. Talk about next level addiction. Like they just put it in the corner. They're like, hey, you could just stare at it all day, constantly. It's wild. Why do you have 74,000 emails? I don't know why I have 74,000 emails, but I have 74,000 emails. I'm definitely not an inbox zero type of guy, to be honest. I should make a new email and just start fresh. Charge your phone. Yeah, that's a good idea. I should probably charge my phone. Dude, my phone is never charged. It is so annoying. And now the battery's getting worse because of Apple. They're tanking my battery. I'm going to have to get a new one. 107.26 on Palantir. Webull had this feature for years. All right. Well, now Hood caught up. SoFi still down 4%. Bitcoin 97. Reddit 215. Amazon 237. Tesla 364. Tesla continues to get a little hit. Have your sister be your secretary, dude. My sister doesn't even watch my streams. She sees my tweets though. She sees when I tweet about her, and she's like, "Why are you like exposing me?" I'm like, "Cause it's content. I need content." But yeah, she'd never watch my streams, dude. Even my parents, bro. I mean, they might tune in here and there randomly, but first of all, they have a real job. Second of all, it's like, I don't know. It's just they don't watch it. That tends to happen though with content creators. Like your close friends, like none of my friends watch this. Like it's just like, I don't know. It's like you tend to get people who like don't know about you that are strangers that enjoy the content versus like people who are close to you. Granted, none of my friends like the stock market, so which I know a lot of you guys relate to. 714 right here on Meta as well. Well, my sister's not a teacher anymore. My sister is she's like an administrator. She like teaches the teachers now, but she used to be a teacher. But even if, dude, I don't care. She could like tune in here or there. She never tunes in, bro. She doesn't watch it. She watches a ton of YouTube. She never clicks on my video because again, like why would she, right? She's like, what's the title of this video? Nvidia Rebound, Palantir holding 100, jobs data, Amazon earnings today. The last person on planet Earth to click on that title is my sister. She would look at that and be like, what is Nvidia? Like, she would not care. Oh, let me check her portfolio. Hold on. Let me pull that up. She must be having a fun day if she's looking at her stocks. Yep, she's doing good today. Not bad. Not bad at all. She's liking this. I got her into Grab too, so if we can get Grab to have some momentum, then she'll be able to benefit off Grab as well. We're gonna have to see. Ryan says, I'm a nurse crying at my breakfast break, knowing that I'm making more on Palantir today than I do in 2 months, wiping y'all grandma's butt. Okay, couple things. First of all, congratulations on your win on Palantir. And I'm happy you're making a lot more money on Palantir than what you're doing as a nurse. Second of all, thank you for what you do. And I'm saying this because my grandparents passed away 2 years ago, and I was in the hospital with them. And I know how tough that is as a job. And nurses do not get paid enough, and it is absolutely a travesty. But I saw that happen, when my grandpa was dying back in 2022. Like, it's a really tough job. And when they're older people, so they're going to yell at you. They're going to be mean. They're not going to care about your feelings. They're not going to be nice about you wiping their ass. Like it's a tough position. It's a very tough position. So all the freaking respect in the world to you doing that. And see, this is why I don't give a flying you-know-what about Palantir's valuation. Because when someone like that, who's in that situation, who's doing some really important stuff in the world, is able to get monetarily compensated by a company like Palantir, even if it is expensive, that's what means the world, dude. That's what absolutely means the world. So, the bears can get mad about the valuation all they want. At the end of the day, this stock, my thesis on it is that smart money had to buy when dumb money bought, which means smart money, as Sachin said yesterday, became dumb money, and dumb money became very smart money, talking about more than 10x smart money. And now smart money wants to get exposure. They have to buy shares at a ridiculous premium because they're not that smart. That's it. That's my thesis. And that's what's happening right now. All respect to the nurses, 100%. All respect to the nurses. By the way, all of us are going to need a nurse one day when we're getting ready to say see you later to planet Earth. If we're lucky enough to be in a hospital and have that happen peacefully, there's going to be a nurse out there that's going to be cleaning up after us. So it's all going to happen to all of us, and it's just important we recognize how special and important that job actually is. Robot nurses. I mean, well, look, yeah, that's probably a point. I mean, I can't deny that there's probably going to be some robot nurses that are out there. That's probably going to happen. I mean, by the time, 30 years from now? Yeah, probably. That would be crazy to do, though, right? That would be replacing one of the jobs that, again, it's a tough thing to do, to clean up after someone. If a robot could do that instead, and that nurse could be more productive doing other things like managing the robot or stuff like that. Does a nurse really have, if we could automate the cleaning up part after someone in a hospital, and the nurse could be doing other stuff that's more high value in terms of not literally cleaning up, but managing, scheduling, getting things ready with the software to administer drugs, all this stuff like that. First of all, that nurse could get paid more because the value is getting up there. There's less cost on the robot because it's a freaking robot. You don't have to pay it anything, right? So that extra level of productivity and income from the hospital could go distributed across the nurses, which means incomes can go up. And then the robot can handle some work that's not as pleasant to do, like cleaning up after someone. There is a real world where the bots end up transforming humanity into a much, much different world that could be very beneficial for all parties. My uncle says here, watch the movie Subservience on HBO Max, Human Robots and What Can All Happen in the Future. See, this movie I've been hearing a lot by a ton of people. I've got to watch this one. But there's been a lot more around this movie. Oh, this is with Megan Fox. This is also on Netflix. Oh, I've seen this one. I've not seen it, but I've heard of this one. Yeah. This one made headlines with Megan Fox. Yeah, that one was a crazy movie. I haven't seen it yet, but that is a case study on how crazy you can get with robots, especially if they start thinking. If they start thinking for themselves, it can get wild. Tesla 366, Google 192, Amazon 237, Palantir 107 still, Bitcoin 97,000 here right now. Carla, thank you for the $10 super chat. Hey, Amit, I'm a nurse and I hear you speak about Grab. In your opinion, what is a good price entry on Grab? Carla, I like Grab right here at this price. I think it has a margin of safety at 30% cash. Downside could be $4 if the dollar gets very hot. So that's something you have to care about because it's an international stock. And if Q4 earnings does not guide for, I would say, 60% adjusted EBITDA growth, then Grab could also take a hit. However, I think trading at 30% cash, you're getting a bit of a discount, or at least you're getting a bit of margin of safety. My price target is $10 in 2 years. So if you're buying it right here, you're not going to get a Palantir move. Not on this one. we got from 6 to 106 on Palantir. I don't know if I can do that with Grab from 4 to 104, but I think we can go from 4 to 10 in 2 years. So that is kind of my time horizon on that stock. Have you seen the documentary I, Robot? I have not. I have not seen the documentary I, Robot. Where is Amazon? It's at 237. And where is Nvidia? It's at 126. Trying to hold on to 107 or 127, but just a smidge below. All right, let's get some updates on the street and get some macro perspectives on what's happening right now across Wall Street. We didn't have too many headlines today. We got Amazon earnings. Obviously, that's going to be important. But outside of that, nothing too crazy. Chris Jomo, thank you for the $10 super chat. Thank you for sharing more than just stocks. Chris, thank you for being here. Appreciate you, brother. Hopefully, the show can lead to sharing tons and tons of things, a bunch of besides just stocks. But usually we always connect it to how it relates to the economy, right? That's always the most important thing when we try to bring up any discussion and try to get deeper into what it's about. Okay, so here's what I want to play. What's your target on Palantir? Guys, I don't have a target on Palantir. I mean, this thing is like can anyone have a target on Palantir? Like, at this point, this thing has defied all laws of gravity. But this is just, it's defied physics, defied everything. I don't know. It's Palantir. It is Palantir. And so I don't know what the target is now. I think I'll have to do some more research to kind of see what it looks like, but it is not trading just on numbers, and that's okay. There's other things that it trades on. Okay, so let me pull this up right here. This is one thing I wanted to show. And then we'll get into some of the other macro stuff. By the way, gold's hitting an all-time high, which is, I mean, that is kind of weird right there. Nvidia back to 127. Gold down just a little bit today, but it's up 7% year to date. That tends to not happen, but that is happening. So I don't know. I guess we have to kind of see how that plays out. Oh, wow. Scott Besant's talking at 1 p.m. All right. So he's going to be live and he'll have some conversations at 1 p.m. Here's what I wanted to show. We got the professor talking about tariffs and some of the volatility we're going on with in the market. So let me play this, get some perspectives, and then we'll get a couple other headlines to get into. Palantir Weekly could be very interesting this week. That is correct. Palantir Weekly will be very interesting this week.
Do you look through the noise, or do you not?
Well, it looks choppy to me, and I think you named those two things. I mean, tariffs I had, and the question of AI spending. Now, we've had some firms reaffirm their spending, but, things can change if fast-moving developments show that the need for high-level chips is not what it would be before. Now, we had a nice bounce today in Nvidia, but clearly, I think those two uncertainties seem to me to put a cap on any big thrust in the market in February.
Of course, looming all over this is really what's coming out of Washington, or at least the anticipation of what could come. And I know we sort of had a taste of this a few years ago during Trump's first term. This feels a little bit different. There's a lot coming out in a relatively short time, just a couple of weeks here. Do investors, do they just sort of sit and wait? Or is there sort of a way to sort of navigate through this?
Well, I mean, we saw the first time, I mean, he stepped back at the last moment, which really didn't surprise me. But, it's like the wolf, the sky is falling. The sky is falling, and pretty soon people are going to ignore it. And, maybe he will put them on. And that sort of uncertainty is always in the back of your head in terms of what kind of strategy he will have on the tariffs. You are absolutely right. It is much more aggressive now than it seemed to be in his first term. And I think that that's an uncertainty that, the stock market doesn't like those uncertainties. So it's going to discount them and keep it from moving higher, even though earnings certainly look good in the fourth quarter.
What's so interesting to me is just a week ago, I was at a hedge fund conference and the vibe was buoyant. I mean, you could just sense that the U.S. exceptionalism theme was running rampant. Everyone was feeling really good. And that has obviously changed now, just like a week later. Does it change again? Like, how do you manage that kind of turn?
Well, I think long run U.S. exceptionalism is still there. And I mean, the Mag 7 is a unique group of stocks such as we have never actually seen before in history. I mean, a group of trillion-dollar stocks, which have earnings backing them. I mean, except for Tesla, we're talking about PEs in the 30s at most and some below that. So the group of earnings that they have is also unprecedented in history.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's very little to know when that trend will stop. Clearly DeepSeek is one threat, but as I say, a prize fighter, takes one blow, he keeps on fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, for a narrative, a trend to change, you need 2 or 3 factors that convince people that, hey, you know what? I think it might be time for a rotation. But we all
Siegal, for those that don't know, is the guy who called the 2000 .com crash. So that's why people listen to him very carefully when he thinks we're topping out. I don't think he says we're topping out right now, but he definitely does think the Mag 7 is getting way too concentrated. And, that's going to be the debate in 2025. Do we rotate or do we keep piling into the Mag 7?
I don't know how many head fakes we've had about rotation in the last 6-9 months. 1 or 2 days of bad tech, and then it comes roaring back. So, yeah, I mean, in my look, the trend is still intact, but certainly we've seen some softening in the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, it's so true. It's like just ask the small caps, one day one thing, one day the next thing. So U.S. exceptionalism plus AI, that's there. And the other bucket, though, you have many looking for an expansion of earnings and a rotation within the market and a sign of a healthy market. What would tell you we're in a healthy market?
Well, and clearly, I think what was hoped to have happened was that the Fed was going to lower those short-term rates more. And that does help those small and medium-sized stocks a lot. And when the realization that, we might get only one or maybe no cuts this year, interest expenses, much greater proportion of earnings for small and mid-size than certainly the Mag 7 has virtually no interest expense, all capital, all equity. So I think that, that hope that many expressed when the Fed did the 50 basis points cut in September, has basically been dashed by the strength of the economy, the threat of tariffs, the sideways movement of inflation, and therefore the tremendous revision of what is going to happen to interest rates from what we thought 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah. Well, the good news, at least in the secondary market, you're seeing a big drop in yields today, not necessarily.
Let's get an update on Amazon earnings as we get into that here as well.
Growing AI contribution for AWS. And for the first time ever, analysts are projecting that Amazon will deliver higher quarterly revenue than Walmart, the top revenue generator every quarter for the past 12 years. We'll watch their CapEx numbers. We just talked to Yusuf Scully, who has some pretty eye-popping projections on what they're going to spend next year.
And cloud, right? AWS, because of a little bit of a stumble, at least in the reaction with Google and Microsoft on the cloud business. Let's turn to another big mover, Ralph Lauren. The stock rallying to a record high today after the company beat earnings and revenue expectations.
I didn't know that. Ralph Lauren right here up 12%.
And raised its full year guidance. That's strength thanks to strong performance over the holiday season with strength across all of its geographies. The next hurdle for retailers, of course, is tariffs. But Ralph Lauren has been diversifying its sourcing over the past 7 years, with China now only accounting for low to mid single digits of its sourcing. Joining us now to talk about all of this is Ralph Lauren CEO Patrice Louvet. Great.
Okay, so you got Amazon moving. You got Ralph Lauren going up. TJ always wearing polo. Should have known. Do you guys wear Ralph Lauren? Do you own that brand? I've never shopped at Ralph Lauren. I feel like it's a little expensive, like $80 a crew neck or something. But still, looks like, I mean, the fact that people are buying Ralph Lauren, dude, in Q4 and they're going up, consumer is relatively healthy, at least from that perspective. 107.12 on Palantir. Let's see if we can get back to 108. We topped out at 108.68. Currently, right now at 107.2. All this polo on. I got horsepower. I should have said that. I should have said that. I mean, you should buy because it's tax deductible if you wear it on stream. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get away with that. Did we ring the bell for 108? We did indeed ring the bell for 108. A decent amount of you wear Ralph Lauren. All right, there you go. Decent amount of you do. Okay, so Palantir 107, it's holding up right here. Again, we did touch 108, then we got rejected. I wouldn't be surprised if we get back up there. Grab is also going up 2.5%, so giving a little bit of momentum back, or getting some of that momentum back from the Tuesday move. At 108, there's 13,000 shares waiting for Palantir. Again, we already broke through it, so there's no wall. The next really big wall for Palantir is at 110, where there's 440,000 shares. And at 109, there are 165,000 shares. So it could happen. It could happen. We would just need to see a little bit more volume. May, you could definitely get away with that. You need to be writing off your entire house, office, clothes, work stuff. Yeah, that's, I mean, dude, I talked to my accountant the other day, and that's another reason I need to move out, because I need some expenses. And, you know, one of the benefits of paying a higher rent of moving out is that I can use it for my tax deductions, especially because it functions as my studio as well, where I'm going to be living. So, dude, I need deductions. I freaking need deductions. I have no deductions. Like, I have nothing. Maybe 5 to 10,000 in deductions, and that's just not cutting it. So I actually wouldn't mind paying a little bit more in rent, especially if that place is like a fully decked out podcast studio, which is the goal of what I'm trying to build going into the summer this year. And then that could help with the tax deductions as well. But yeah, you know, anything that could really help get some expenses. I mean, I probably could justify it if I buy polo shirts and I say it's like a marketing expense or whatever. I need to look nice on stream. But a couple polo shirts aren't going to cut it. We need some real deductions, bro. Some real deductions. Working from home, you can deduct so much. Yep, you can also do that as well. Yeah, there's different rules to it. I was talking to my accountant. You say, you know, some people say you can only deduct 10 to 12%, 10 to 20% of rent plus utilities. There's different rules. I was talking with him, like, I think last month when I had a meeting with him. There's a lot of interesting stuff you can do, especially if it functions as like a studio and it's a media business. There's a bunch of different stuff he was talking about. So there's, like, the point is I can get a much better deduction than what I'm getting right now, because I don't pay rent living with my parents, right? So there's no real deduction from that. And then I live at home, so there's no deductions either. But A, I want to move out because I want to move out. But B, you getting a kind of nicer place and paying a little bit more for rent is okay. And I know some people say you should buy, dude. I know what I know. I don't know real estate. I know the stock market, at least to an extent. I'm comfortable in the markets. To take out 150 to 100 grand to make a down payment, even 70, it's just not worth it, bro. Like, it's not worth taking that money out of the markets to get into real estate and then have to worry about the mortgage and the taxes on the property and the interest rates. And I know you can refinance, et cetera, but I'm going to be traveling so much the next couple of years. I'm barely going to be even at the house. So it's like, I just don't want to be tied to a property. In a couple of years, yes, but not right now. I definitely want to get into real estate. It's just like, there's only so much. I mean, I'm streaming 10 hours a day and then trying to manage a portfolio. So it's like, it's really hard to get super excited about the real estate business. And I think I need a little bit of stability in life before I can venture off into a new field to try to be successful in when it comes to making money. And a property right now is just way too much stress. It's just too much stress. It's just not worth it. It's not worth it right now. 421 on CrowdStrike as well. Look at that. CrowdStrike all-time highs at 421 on CrowdStrike. Hey, Amit, AMD beat estimates. What's your thoughts on that? My thoughts are that AMD is still perceived as the second player to Nvidia, and they did not give AI-specific revenue guidance for Q1. They gave Q1 guidance, but not AI, aka they didn't give data center guidance. And I don't know, that rubs me the wrong way. I don't know why you can't guide for Q1, especially when there's all this demand that you're seeing. So I don't know. I'd rather buy Nvidia, but I do think AMD sentiment has gotten really bad. So if there was a pop from here, I wouldn't think it's crazy to see a pop. Every meal you eat is tax deductible. Not every single meal you eat is tax deductible. You can write off a certain percentage of it every other month. But look, there's a lot of tax deductions in America. There's a lot of them. If you haven't, what you guys would be proud of me. I signed up for my solo 401k the other day, officially done. That you can write off a max of $70,000. If anyone is an entrepreneur, please make a solo 401k. You can write off a maximum of 70 grand that grows. You get taxed on it when you're 60, but it reduces your taxes right now. And it's super easy to set up. And you can just dump that 70 grand into the S&P. I'm probably not going to contribute 70 grand. I'll probably contribute like 40 grand this year. Although I might be able to qualify for doing a lot more. It really depends on your income and all that stuff, but it's tax deductible. So solo 401k is literally the best tax deduction in the United States for entrepreneurs. And I didn't know, but if I knew about it for the past 5 years, dude, I've had my own LLC since I was like 21, 20. If I had known about that, I could have been saving a lot of money on taxes, dude. A lot of money. But that one is one of the best ones that's out there. Okay, so I want to pull this up right here and take a listen to this as well. And then we'll keep going. So here's one of my favorite analysts, Mark Mahaney. I want to take a listen to him and what he's saying about Google and Amazon. Did you max out your Roth yet? I didn't max out my Roth yet. That's only 7,500 like later, in the year. Don't really need to do that right now. But the 401k, I haven't even started contributing to my 401k. I just created it. But the goal is to contribute to that later this year. Actually, no, this is what I wanted to play. Okay, so we have Jim Chanos. For those that don't know who he is one of the biggest shorts on Wall Street, and he lost a little bit of chunk of money when it came to Tesla over the years. Want to get his thoughts on a couple different topics. Here's what he had to say about tariffs in China. Let's see what he has to say here. I think he quote tweeted me a couple of years ago about Palantir. I want to see if I can find that tweet too. He said some stuff about Palantir, and I guess he probably doesn't enjoy it right now. Captain Dave says, "Hey, Amit, love the show. I'm in my 50s and sometimes find it weird that I'm listening to someone talk about stocks from his mom's basement and who is not far removed from being a teenager." Well, appreciate you being here, Captain Dave, regardless of listening to a guy in his mom's house. Hopefully not in the summer, but hopefully you're getting value from it, and thank you for being here. All right, here's what Chanos had to say about tariffs on China.
Now to the tariffs on China, which you said are going to be much more serious. The U.S. began imposing an additional 10% tariff on Chinese goods, and Beijing's response was targeted tariffs on about 80 products, which hardly seems like a proportional response. What does this reveal? Does this indicate that China has more to lose from a trade war with the U.S. than the other way around?
I mean, the argument for the administration is that they do, right? That China has much more to lose. They're a much more export-driven country. We'll have to see. I mean, I think China probably feels it was proportional, and we don't know what discussions are going on behind the scenes. So I think, again, wait and see. But I think that 10% isn't going to do it, by the way. I mean, getting back to our early conversation about the amount of tariffs you need to raise serious revenues, you would have to raise them substantially on both China and the EU. And we haven't seen that yet. So we'll have to see what exactly comes within 30 days, 60 days. Does it escalate, or does it cool off? And it was an early campaign promise that he's delivered on, and now he's moved on to something else.
But at the same time, this comes at a precarious time for China's economy. You've been warning for a long time about China's debt bubble and its broken economic model. What does the imposition of tariffs, now at an additional 10%, but perhaps going even higher, mean for that long-term decline?
Yeah, it doesn't help it, that's for sure, because I mean, China saw fewer reliance on net exports after 2010 when we first put out our warning, and that it's growing again. And part of that is due to the fact that the investment-driven model that we've been crying wolf about forever, albeit correctly, is losing its impetus to continue to grow. And the banking system is still bloated.
So Chanos doesn't think that the tariff situation with Trump makes sense. He thinks that we're bloated when it comes to evaluation across the entire market. And essentially his argument is, hey, we're not going to be able to get out of this unless we tariff them even harder. Now, I think Trump's not going to tariff China harder because he knows that he can't mess up his relationships that deeply with China. But I think some of the bears like a Chanos are thinking right now, there's no way to get out of our debt. And that's an issue no matter how much we grow. And that's where the Elon Doge thing really matters that we talked about at the beginning of the show. If the bond market perceives Elon as legitimately slashing costs the way he did at Tesla and Twitter in the federal government, then there is a shot we don't necessarily need the tariffs. We can actually find a way to get some more growth as well.
Although a couple votes for 50.
Business would dramatically hurt sales. That was the key. Also announcing replacement of its CEO. The stock down more than 23%. Stay with us.
This is Skyworks that was down 23% yesterday. I didn't really know what this company was, but apparently they sell a ton to Apple. Replaced their CEO. Guidance wasn't the best. And it's in the semiconductor space. They're down 24% on the day. Roblox as well continues. Well, Roblox got a recovery, 11%. It was down 30%. Now it's down 11%. Dude, when it was down 30%, I knew I should have bought some of it. I was like, this is just stupid. It was like 7:30 in the morning, but I chose not to. 30% down was kind of ridiculous. But there you go. Got a recovery right here. Now at 11%. Palantir 107.5 still holding. Baba's at 100. Tesla still down 3%. At least it's not below 363. SoFi just smacked today, 1485. Reddit down 2%. SMCI up 8.2%. Wow. SMCI is above where I bought it at 2 weeks ago. Nice recovery on SMCI. Nvidia right here, 126.73. I don't think Jeremy's in Skyworks anymore. I think that was 2 years ago. I don't think he's in that stock anymore. The biggest one I know he's into is AMD. That's the one he cares about the most. Amit, are you covering the ELF call later? We'll talk about ELF, but we're going to look at the Amazon call. So we're not going to be listening to ELF. We'll listen to Amazon. Also, Sam, some of you guys know him, Sam Solid. He's going to be with me on Amazon earnings today. We're going to talk about Grab as well. He's big into Amazon, so he'll help me cover the Amazon earnings later today. All right, there you go. There you go. I don't think there's any headlines, guys. It's kind of a light day in terms of crazy news. The only thing that's really been spectacular today has been Palantir just continuing to show that it does not care. It just does not care. Not about anything. Tesla, the post-earnings reaction seems to be kicking in on Tesla. But for Palantir, post-earnings is just to the upside versus downside here. Palantir is the honey badger of the market. It just doesn't care. Yep, it just does not care. People are finally figuring out what Palantir does. I mean, if they're figuring it out and they're willing to pay this multiple, then it seems like they are definitely excited about what they do, or they're buying into the hype, which it could be a mixture of both, but it is happening. Dude, if Palantir actually gets to like 110, 115, 120, I mean, like this is going to be a $300 billion company. Like Salesforce's market cap right now is 317. They do 40 billion in revenue. Palantir's at 247, and we do 3.7 billion in revenue. It's different. It's a different, like the market thinks of this differently. That's it. The market thinks of this differently. Do you think Boxable is a good investment? I've heard of that one. I don't know much about them. Are they even public? Boxable? They're the ones that make the houses, right? Yeah, I've heard of them, but never looked into them. AJJ53 says, acknowledge me just once. Say hi. Hello to you, AJJ53. Thank you for being here and being part of the show. Jeremy said he hoped AMD would go down through the first half of 2025 so he could fully get into the AMD position. We'll see if it's the turnaround story he thinks. I'm leaning long-term. He is right. I think long-term he is going to be right, dude. I don't think AMD is going to be stuck at 100 for ever, you know? And if he gets his average well below it, I think he started buying at 130, then he'll be right, but it's going to take some time. Is Open Door finally a buy at these prices? Look, my problem with Open Door, I looked at this thing heavily in December, and I thought there was something here with rates coming down. And I think there is still something there. The problem is their margins are just disgusting on their homes that they're selling. So they're going to have more volume of homes, but they make like 6% margins. It's just a very, very bad business from a net income perspective. Like they don't make any money. So, and yeah, they're trading 50% at cash. I get it. And that's what got me into it, looking at it. But I don't know. I don't know if Open Door has the narrative. I mean, the rate cuts are the narrative, but mortgage rates are going to have to come dramatically for Open Door to see that benefit. And I don't think we're seeing that yet. At least not now. Why is energy down so much today? I don't know. I mean, all Trump said was drill, baby, drill in the morning. But outside of that, not sure why energy is down. Amit, what's the news today? Why are SoFi dumping? I don't know why SoFi's dumping. I mean, there was a Compass Point report that downgraded it to $6 or whatever. But I don't know if that's the reason why it's down 4% here. All right. Yeah, guys, I think that's pretty much it in terms of market news. There's nothing else that's crazy going on. Almost 12 p.m. here. Nothing else that's that crazy going on outside of Palantir continuing to maintain some of its momentum right here at 107.25. Amid the market has rocketed the last few years with recession, inflation, geopolitical fears, plus a huge wall of worry. Now that sentiment has fully flipped, shouldn't this logic alone be negative for asset prices? Yes, if you believe we're topping, but my pushback to that is that earnings growth is exceptional. And as long as earnings growth is exceptional, it's going to be hard to see, even with that sentiment, things go back. I mean, look, if companies are growing earnings, their stock prices will be rewarded if we avoid a recession. That's kind of just like a historical fact about the market. And in 2021, companies weren't growing earnings. The reason 2021 in hindsight was a bubble is because Meta wasn't growing, but they were valued at $1 trillion. So that's why they fell 80%. But if they're going to keep growing, it doesn't mean they have to go up by $5 trillion, but it definitely doesn't mean they have to go back down to $200 billion. Mario says, I'm going to be listening to the Amazon earnings while in my Amazon van. I love it, Mario. Thank you for being here. Hopefully they have a great earnings and that they can also crush it. Jim Cramer talked down SoFi last night on CNBC. I didn't see that. I guess Cramer's getting upset that SoFi is getting stuck here. Maybe that affected it as well, but yeah, I did not see him do it. But Jim flip-flops every other day, right? I mean, now he loves that Palantir's at 100, so it's not like he was saying it was a stupid stock, a meme stock, cold stock for like a year. So I don't know. SoFi is kind of like stuck at 1485 though, dude. It's like not even moving right here. Down 4.16. Palantir 107.47. Nvidia nicely breaking above 127 finally. Trying to get a little bit above 127 right now. Let me check 128 resistance on Nvidia if there's anything there. Palantir still holding up 107. I want to see if we can get back to 108. I think there's a shot. And maybe a run for 109. If not, obviously a consolidation would not be horrible at these levels. 128 for Nvidia. 344,000 shares. Okay, so it's a decent amount. Decent amount of Nvidia. Robinhood should have a chat feature. Can you tell Vlad? You mean like an AI assistant you can talk to about stocks or something? If so, I think they're working on that, dude. I think that's why they acquired an AI company a couple of months ago. So I think eventually that's going to come. They do have chat with their support, but they don't have like chat where you can talk to an AI about stocks or anything. Maybe they announced it at the gold event though. I think like they're going to have new updates for gold. I think maybe one of the updates is that you're going to have like an AI research assistant theoretically to help you. No, like chat with other users like a terminal. Ah, got you. Yeah, I don't know if Hood would do that. They probably wouldn't want to incorporate something like that. It would be cool though if they had that. But then it just comes down to like dealing with all those people messaging all at once on that. I think that's it, guys. I think that's it. There's nothing else. There's nothing too crazy. Amazon earnings will be the big thing today. I mean, again, Palantir. See, I don't want to leave the stream yet because I think we can get back to 108. We're pretty damn close, but maybe we settle out in these levels. Byron says I tried to contact support to get gold access, but they said no. You mean for the credit card? Yeah, it might be tough for them to give to you. Next week's gonna be fun though, dude. Next week's gonna be fun. I think you guys will enjoy it. There's gonna be some prizes next week that you guys are gonna see. And I think you guys are going to enjoy some of the surprises in California. So it'll be a fun week. It'll be a fun week. But it'll be cool. And we have hood earnings next week as well, which should also be really fun. Okay, cool. I think that's it for me. Bitcoin as well. Where is Bitcoin? Did we check Bitcoin at all? It was at 97. Now it's at 96. That's probably why Hood's taking a little dip as well. Bitcoin right here, 96.8 right now. Hood is not offering a 3%. Well, they're offering a 2% IRA rollover, but not a 3% brokerage transfer match. I wish they would bring that back, but right now your IRA, you can roll over for 2% into it. All right, cool. I think that's it, guys. We'll be back for Amazon later today. That'll be a big one. That'll be important. And what else do we have today? After the bell, Amazon, Cloudflare, Fortinet, Pinterest, Affirm, Elf, CleanSpark. Oh, wow. So we got a lot. And Take-Two and Billing. So we have about 8 companies today that are going to be really important to look at. And so that's going to be what we do later today. And again, I'll have some guests to help me break down Amazon earnings as well going into it. All right, word of the day. Word of the day. What do we got on word of the day? Thank you, everybody, for being here, first of all, and joining the show every single day, even though you're not working at your work from home job because you are staring at Palantir. I will not tell on you. It'll be our little secret. But thank you for being here with me as we all get to stare at Palantir. Word of the day is amphigory. Amphigory. A meaningless or nonsensical piece of writing. My essay devolved into an amphigory as I ran out of ideas. His argument tries to maintain clarity, though it always strays at moments into amphigory. Okay, I'm sure there are moments where I'm talking on stream and you guys are like, this guy's definitely pulling an amphigory out of his ass right now, but hopefully it's not all the time. Analyst reports are amphigory, 100%, bro, especially the grab downgrade that happened yesterday. That was a load of amphigory. I'm exhausted after watching your stream instead of working. Time for a lunch break. Dude, it is kind of exhausting covering the markets, and it's also exhausting seeing Palantir just continue to do what it's doing. It's incredible, dude. Congrats, guys. Congrats. Obviously, I think all of us know the stock could take a hit because it's had an incredible run. I think all of us are mature to understand that could happen. But so far, it's not happening, and it's kind of just sit back and enjoy. If you want to take profits, take your profits. If you want to hold on and just stare at your net worth go higher, then you can also do that. But you believed when no one else believed, and that's why you are getting rewarded right now on Palantir. So, all right, that's it. Thank you, everybody. Hopefully you have a good one. As Eric says, time to take a break from my break. Shout out to all the work from home people that are going to take a break from their break. I'll see you guys for Amazon earnings later today. Bye, everyone. Have a good one.